Hello? Hello, everyone. Let me do the timer before I forget. I'm back with more Ace Attorney. My channel has been taken over by this game. That and Alan Wake 2. I just really enjoy it. Okay, let me get the game up. On stream, I mean. I heard a weird sound in my left ear. Oh. Yay! Just stretching and taking a sip of water. Oh, YouTube. Wait, which one? Autosave. Okay, it should be at 11:02, 9 o'clock. Is this? Welcome to court. 7 years, all leading to one verdict. A verdict which you must decide. Is defendant Vera Misham innocent or guilty? The courtroom doors are opening. The trial awaits. Are you ready to begin? Preparations complete. Something inside me. Rising, surfacing. Something important lost long ago. It's close now, so close. October 9th, 10 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 3. Court is now in session for the trial of Vera Misham. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is ready to rock. Prosecutor Gavin, how is the defendant, Vera Misham's condition? Accused atrokine poisoning, according to her physician. She could die at any time. Thus, her absence from the courtroom today. What? They can't put her on trial without her being here? It is unusual. They should wait for her to get better and do it then. It's so bureaucratic of them. That's being a little harsh. They can't delay the trial any longer, or they risk having no one left to try. A trial without a verdict can only cause grief. The records of this case and experience tell us this. Apologies to the defendant, but the show must go on. Right. If Vera dies, the trial will be cancelled. I'm not going to let that happen. Mr. Wright told me everything that's been going on behind the curtain all these years. I'm going to give Vera her innocent verdict while there's still time. Very well. Your opening statement, Prosecutor Gavin. The prosecution's case is untainted by recent events. Why did Vera Misham succumb to poison? because she couldn't live with the guilt of what she'd done.
Objection!
But Vera was poisoned with atroquinine, the exact same poison that took her father's life. What better confession could you ask for? Being the killer, she would have had access to the poison. Significant, since it's rather hard to come by. That is true. In other words, I see no need for further discussion. We could have had our verdict yesterday. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no objections, I see no reason to postpone a verdict. What we need to worry about isn't the verdict, but the trial itself. The defense holds that Vera Misham is the victim, not the killer. If that's so, then you have to prove something. She was in court giving her testimony before us. How do you propose her killer poisoned her? Oh, and incidentally, it would be nice if you told us who her mystery killer was. The prosecution's objection is sustained. I asked the defense to prove its claims to this court. Tell us how Vera Misham was poisoned. I've got two things to prove here. Who did it and how? Which to hit first? Show how, show who. How did the killer poison Vera Misham? I will focus first on the method used. Any comments before we begin, Prosecutor Gavin? Not the bottle or container of the poison was found on the defendant's body. I see. So the vector of poisoning is unknown. Is the defense prepared to prove how the poison reached Vera Misham? Yes, Your Honor. Very well. What method was used to poison Vera Misham? This is the only thing I have. What's this? My, what a beautiful bottle. I'd like to give whoever designed that a hand. Is that nail polish? It's colorless. Ah! Something the matter? No, nothing. Nothing at all. So the killer put poison in this bottle and made her drink it? As Prosecutor Gavin has told us, this is nail polish. Nail polish? It's like paint for nails. Anyway, know any women with red nails? Ah, my wife has red nails. I see. So she's been painting them all this time. Let's recall yesterday's trial. Let's just skip over that. The judge is so unusual. Remember when Vera was testifying to the court? Court is now back in session. Vera seems pretty tense. She's practically chewing her fingernails clean off. Whenever Vera became nervous, she had a habit of biting her nails. Her nails? Ah! Prosecutor Gavin? When the prosecution had Vera examined, did they check her nails? Bailiff! Have them check the defendant's nails at once. Mr. Justice. Yes? Do you know who did this? Do you know who put poison in that nail polish? Yes. That bottle belongs to Vera Misham? Why do you ask? Know someone else who might have a bottle like this? No, just checking. Mr. Justice, you are about to accuse someone of poisoning that bottle of nail polish. Please dispense with the chatter. You realize the weight of this accusation? Here, let me show you. Understood, Your Honor. No problem. I know what I'm doing this time. Then let us ask, who poisoned Vera Misham via her nail polish? What's this? Christoph Gavin?
Objection!
What's your game? My bro? There's no way he could do a thing like that. You should know that better than anyone else. Indeed. He is behind bars. I know. However, that doesn't mean it was impossible to do what he did. But? Ask yourselves when he put the poison in the bottle. It could have been yesterday. It could have been a month ago. Maybe it was a year ago? Or perhaps it was 7 years ago. But Christoph Gavin had no motive for killing this poor girl. It's simply inconceivable. Prosecutor Gavin doesn't seem to think so. That face tells me one thing. Christoph Gavin's own younger brother doesn't find it inconceivable at all. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, if you feel there is a clear and pressing need, then we may have to summon Christoph Gavin for jail as a special witness. Fine. I've known for some time that an impenetrable darkness lurked at the bottom of this. A darkness that has swallowed even myself. Okay, the defense's wish is granted. Let prisoner Christoph Gavin take the stand. Bailiff, begin proceedings to call a special witness. The witness is Christoph Gavin, currently residing in solitary cell 13 at Central Prison. How did he even know that? Ah, Your Honor. How nice to see you again. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? To what do I owe the pleasure of your company? It's not every day I'm summoned from my solitary cell. In fact, it's never. I think you already know Mr. Christoph Gavin. Ah, Mr. Justice. I hear you've been doing quite well for yourself. Ack! Why do I feel like somehow he's still my boss? Stiff upper lip, Apollo. You can do it! Does this bottle look familiar? Eridoni nail polish? Why yes, I use it myself. As did the late defendant, I hear. She's not dead yet. And? Was there something concerning this bottle you wish to ask me about? I admit, I respect her for her taste in nail polish. Her taste, indeed. This nail polish was how their mission was poisoned. Atrocyanine, was it? You're well informed about the case, Mr. Gavin. Even in solitary, much comes to my desk, and I have nothing to do but read. Well, Clavier? Maybe you can explain this. You're being accused again. By him. Again. Ah, and? You agree with this accusation, do you? Let's hold a proper trial, shall we? Christoph Gavin, your testimony, please. I'd be delighted. The charges against you are quite severe, Mr. Gavin. You are suspected of the poisoning of the defendant, Vera Misham. Please testify on this matter to the court. Poisoning Vera. Owning the same nail polish does not a murderer make. I have been in solitary confinement for half a year. How could I poison her? Her father died of the same poison, the meaning of which should be clear. The prosecution's case holds. She poisoned her father, then attempted to poison herself. Surely you aren't going to suggest I was responsible for poisoning her father, too. Well, I'm afraid the defense's claim is sounding rather unlikely. Naturally. For one, I don't even know the victims. Isn't that so, Mr. Justice? Very well, Mr. Justice. Begin your cross-examination. I'm accusing Christoph Gavin, my ex-boss. But I know he poisoned the Mishams. The question is, when could he have done it? Not to mention, why? Poisoning Vera. Owning the same nail polish does not a murderer make. Tell me, is this nail polish expensive? Ariadne is a nail polish of the highest order. Not only is it fabulously expensive, but it is made in extremely limited quantities. And you and Vera just happen to both use it? That can't be a coincidence. I'm guessing it's not a coincidence. Huh? It's simple. Ariadne is the best nail polish one can buy, correct? Then if one wanted the best nail polish, one would buy it. That makes sense. Why, it's a bit like my feelings toward my brand-name gavel here. And my silk top hat. Are we all done showing off our refined tastes? Please, continue with your tasteful testimony. I have been in solitary confinement for half a year. How could I poison her? Can't you still make contact with the outside world in solitary? So he had an accomplice on the outside. Is this your latest accusation? I am allowed a certain modicum of letter writing. But the contents of those letters are closely checked. It would be extremely difficult to send a hit request. Prosecutor Gavin's on the warpath, isn't he? Yeah. You think so too, Trucy? I bet I know why. He must be nervous with Big Brother watching. And maybe that's a weakness I can turn to my advantage. Are we cool with that? May I continue? Her father died of the same poison, the meaning of which should be clear. The defendant is not dead yet. There are no known cases of someone surviving atropine poisoning. You seem to know a lot about atropine. I know a lot about a lot of things, which is why I suggest we pick up the pace, or else you'll be short one defendant for what she's worth. The witness will refrain from speaking ill of the ill. My apologies. Shall I continue? The prosecution's case holds. She poisoned her father, then attempted to poison herself. Vera had no reason to want to commit suicide. And also, who would commit suicide by doing their nails? The answer is quite simple. Basically, allow me to explain, beginning with, why did she do it? The answer is quite simple. She couldn't live with her own guilt. Next, why did she use nail polish to poison herself? This too is simple. She could die doing something that she liked. Something that she liked? When she saw that the trial wasn't going her way, she knew she would die. And it's not easy to bring poison into a courtroom. Must I explain further? I believe that's clear enough. Crystal clear. Wow, the two brothers together is like a two-man wrecking team. They could use a little more teamwork, though. Surely you aren't going to suggest I was responsible for poisoning her father, too. Both Vera and Mr. Mission were poisoned with atropine. That really can't be a coincidence.
Objection!
The defense is repeating fallacious statements based on conjecture. The prosecution requests concrete, unambiguous proof of the witness's crime. Objection sustained. The defense will please present concrete proof. Does Prosecutor Gavin seem strange to you too? It's like he's all grown up. I think that's how prosecutors are supposed to be, actually. Though he is acting different than usual. I'll bet it has a lot to do with his brother Kristoff being in the room. Well, let's make this testimony count, Apollo. Right. Quick and painless. My bracelet should do the trick. Okay, I'm questioning my ex-boss. His testimony seems watertight, but he's lying. I'm sure I'll be able to see something, as long as I focus. Okay, let's look at that. Which of these statements? Is it this one? Maybe it's his hand. Here again. For half a year, how could I poison her? It's not the hand. I don't see anything peculiar there. Maybe it's this. Whoa, we got a close up on the eyes? Here again. Aren't going to suggest I was responsible for poisoning her father too. What was that? Something changed. I saw some movement here. Suggest I was responsible for poisoning Mr. Gavin, you're nervous about something. There is that finger pointing at me so rudely. And that desperate gleam in your eyes, it's quite disturbing, actually. Perhaps because you have no faith in your own logic, which is why you cling to your dubious power. Confident or not, I've come a long way, Mr. Gavin. Just a little more to go. I need a word. There must be some word that sends shivers down his spine. Okay, so it wasn't that. How about this one? She poisoned her father, then attempted to poison herself. Here again. No. I feel like it has to be this. He looks so angry the whole time. Oh, what is this? Whoa! What the fuck?
Gotcha!
It was you who killed Drew Misham. A bluff worthy of your new mentor, Mr. Wright. Oh, really? But you see, I saw it. Right when you said her father, too. Your hand tensed unnaturally and a little devil appears to give me the news. And, let's assume for the sake of argument, that you saw me being tense. What does that mean? Are all tense witnesses guilty? And tell me, was Drew Misham fond of nail polish, too? Sorry, but there's more than one way to poison a man. You don't need nail polish to get to someone's mouth. Ah. Then I must be very talented indeed. You see, Drew Misham was killed on October 6th, while I was already in my solitary confinement cell at Central Prison. If that's not an alibi, then I don't know what is. But you found a way all the same, and I found it too. This is how you poisoned Mr. Misham. I'm sure this commemorative stamp requires no introduction. The night Mr. Misham died, he was seen writing a letter. Atrokinin was found on this stamp, Mr. Gavin. So am I to understand this stamp was the murder weapon? Yes, you are. Oh, and yes, this stamp was found in your prison cell. That is all, Your Honor. Whoa! Where do all these people come from? Order, order, order. Poison on the back of that stamp? After Drew Misham was killed, someone paid a visit to this witness's cell. Phoenix Wright. Daddy? That's when he found the stamp. You made Drew Mission write you a letter. That's how you killed him. What? My. You've upset my poor brother to the point of uselessness. Allow me to clarify this matter, Justice. All you need to do is recall witness Spark Brushell's testimony. Well, that's the thing, see? After you put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Mission sat there searching his desk drawer for something. His desk drawer? Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp, end quote. He was looking for a stamp. Ergo, he had no intention of using this stamp. What are you getting at? What I'm arriving at is that this commemorative stamp was in a frame. It was mere coincidence that he used it that night. That would seem to be the case. Or perhaps you mean to suggest that I can somehow manipulate coincidence. He does have a point. How would this witness know if the victim was going to use that stamp? Without that, he couldn't have planned the murder. What? Really, Clavier. You should be seeing through these weak-spined bluffs by now. He's right, though. How could anyone have known Mr. Mission would use that stamp that night? Least of all, Christoph Gavin locked away in his cell. Well, it seems that the defense has run out of things to say. You assume he had something to say in the first place. I believe the defense's bluff has been called. The defense's bluff? I'm not sure I agree with you there, Christoph. Clavier? Honestly, I wanted to believe you, but the defense wasn't trying to get away with a bluff. You were, Christoph. What are you saying, Prosecutor Gavin? Hair forehead. What was your accusation again? Huh? Oh, it was that this poison stamp killed Drew Misham, yeah? To which my brother responded thusly. There was no way to know when Mr. Misham would use the stamp. Yes, that's right, which is why it couldn't have been planned. Tell me, it needs to be planned. Why? Why couldn't it have been a coincidence? The defense's case is simply that Drew Misham died by that stamp, that's all. Coincidence. Christoph, you tried to slip out from under his accusation by changing the subject. If that's not bluffing, what is it? What are you up to, Clavier? I could ask you the same question, Christoph. I silenced the defense with the fewest words possible. It's called efficiency. But Mr. Gavin, that's impermissible testimony. Very well. I shall take his claim head on then. Justice. What? You accuse me of Drew Mission's murder, yes? Then, allow me to ask you, what possible reason could I have to kill a painter? Apollo! Motive! He's talking about a motive! Indeed. It's hard to see how an attorney could come to want to kill a painter. Now here's something. Why didn't he bring up the motive from the very beginning? Unless he was afraid it was a battle he might lose. So, what does it mean? It means there might be a weak spot. Maybe I have some evidence to prove a motive. A motive for murder. This is a vital, if not the most vital element in this case. Please consider this when making your statement. I'd say it's about this vital. That's pretty vital. Well, Mr. Justice? I'm going through with this no matter what. Understood, Your Honor. I'd like to present evidence. Then let's see what you have for us. What reason did Christoph Gavin have for wanting to murder Drew Misham? Is it this one? I never did look at this. There's an address on here, and a name I've never heard of. At least I think so. It's too blurry to read. This stamp. It's of the Grammariz, isn't it? Why did Mr. Wright give me this letter right before the trial? What could it mean? The nail polish Mr. Wright gave me. This must be the brand symbol. It's an A drawn like a flower. It's refreshing to see a brand with a simple, clear design like this. It could be this. Either this or the letter. That's a big penalty. Okay, so it wasn't that. Yeah, that's a big penalty. Your mission had another business besides painting. Add a lawyer to that, and the puzzle is complete. Your Honor, I'm plenty numb now. Can I try again? Then let's see what you have for us. What reason did Christoph Gavin have for wanting to murder Drew Misham? This? Christoph Gavin's motive becomes clear when we consider why the stamp came to Drew Misham's studio in the first place. And why was that? Forgery, Your Honor. Go back 7 years. Drew Misham accepts his first job creating forged evidence. I've seen that before. A page from a diary, wasn't it? Magnifique Grand Marie's diary. Ah, when attorney Phoenix Wright lost his badge, yes. This was the evidence he presented to his loss. This evidence is a fake, yes. But did Mr. Wright request the forgery be made? That was never proven. The defense attorney on that case was Miss Phoenix Wright. Who, other than him, drunk with the prospect of victory, could have done it? And why would they? Just out of curiosity, do you remember this letter? This is the first page. And this is the second. Those were presented in court yesterday. This letter was sent to Drew Misham by the client who requested that forgery. The enclosed stamp was none other than the poison commemorative stamp. Drew Misham drew his last breath just the other day. However, the motive for his murder was already 7 years old. 7 years old. The client who requested this forgery was very cautious. He tried to erase anything and anyone with connections to the forgery. To keep them from talking? But he made a mistake. The stamp was a picture of my favorite The stamp was a picture of my favorite magicians, so I kept it. Father took me when I was very young. It was a great magic show. I loved it so much. The killer's time bomb was delayed. The poisoned stamp was sealed within a glass frame, where it sat for 7 whole years. Sorry. Von Karma? Ow. Head forehead. Do you understand what you're telling us? The one who schemed up the forged diary page was the one who poisoned the stamp. And it was Phoenix Wright who presented the forged evidence 7 years ago. Adding the two statements together, the one who schemed to kill Drew Misham was none other than Phoenix Wright. Objection! Sorry, but that's not how this is going to go down. Oh, then how will it go down? I checked through the records on that case when I found this. 7 years ago, just before the trial began.
Oh, old boy. Here.
What's this?
I don't know. I just got it over there in the hall. They told me to give it to the old boy in the blue suit with the spiky hair.
And one more thing. I'm sorry to have sprung this on you so suddenly. I received the vials from your previous attorney only yesterday. I understand I am asking the impossible of you. Yes, well, you haven't really told me what happened yet. All we did was play cards. And that was enough. Phoenix Wright was put on the case the day before the trial started. He didn't have time to request a forgery. The day before? Now, here's a question. Just who was Shadi and Igmar's previous defense attorney? No, this can't all be. But it is all true. There was another man, a defense attorney with a badge on his collar. It was you, Christoph Gavin! Order, order, order! What is the meaning of this, witness? I mean, defendant? Former lawyer? Let me begin by denying this. It's easy enough to look up, Mr. Gavin, and impossible to prove if you can't. Attorneys are registered with the court the day before the trial begins. In other words, no record remains in the court. How exactly did you intend to prove Phoenix Wright's claim? That would be difficult. I'm afraid this line of inquiry won't yield. Objection! Chaos forehead. Are you sure you don't have evidence?
What's wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? He looks clammy.
Evidence. Evidence that shows this man, Christoph Gavin, requested that forgery 7 years ago. Lavier? Just prove it! Clear up these doubts now, or I swear I'm off this case.
You must have thought of some evidence, Apollo.
Prosecutor Gavin looks like he's in physical pain. That darkness. I have to pull that darkness out of him, and proof is the only way I can. What proves Christoph Gavin's link to Drew Misham? Well, Mr. Justice, you claim Christoph Gavin requested a forgery of Drew Misham 7 years ago. Prove it. It can be proven. Simply ridiculous. Why even discuss it? This evidence does not. Objection! Are you telling the truth, Apollo Justice? I am. Then, I say we give him the benefit of the doubt. Very well, but if you're wrong about this, be prepared for a penalty.
I'm scared of the penalty.
Objection!
Your Honor, you do the defense an injustice. Mr. Justice is clearly passionate about his claim. Did the penalty not match his passion? I haven't given a penalty like that in a long time. Well, Mr. Justice.
I'm scared of it. No, no, no.
Fine, Your Honor. All I have to prove is any kind of link. Something that ties Christoph Gavin to Drew Misham. And I have something that clearly does the job. Very well, Mr. Justice. Present your evidence. Show us the link between our witness and Drew Misham. The witness and Drew Misham. Witness. Witness, witness, witness. Wouldn't it be this? No. This? This evidence proves there's a link.
Objection!
That scrap of paper? I'm afraid I can't let you submit that. Is there something wrong? There is. How could you possibly have that? You couldn't.
Hey, that's Daddy's handwriting.
Mr. Wright's handwriting? What is the meaning of this? Ah, I see now. Yes, of course. What do you mean, of course? I just remembered I had a visitor yesterday. Phoenix Wright came to my cell, except I wasn't there. Phoenix Wright? When I returned, I saw he had something of mine in his possession. Of course, I had no intention of letting him get away with reading my private mail. Mail? You mean this letter was in your cell? No. However, it appears Mr. Wright has yet to be cured of his bad forging habit. Well, if it is a forgery, and it's not a very good one, the handwriting's terrible. This is Mr. Wright's reproduction of what was written in the real letter. Reproduction? When Mr. Wright visited Christoph Gavin's cell, he brought with him a small video camera. What? He recorded his entire conversation with you, Mr. Gavin. And the contents of your personal mail. Damn. Regardless, this mockery of a piece of evidence will never be accepted by the court. Evidence based on a video of a man with no authority whatsoever claims he took. A man who happens to be an ex-attorney suspected of forgery. Prosecutor Gavin? Prosecutor Gavin? As embarrassing as this is for me to say, I'm afraid my brother is incapable of making rational judgments at the moment. Your Honor, your decision, please. The defense's claim is denied.
What?
Only actual evidence is permitted in a court of law. Please remove the defense's evidence from the record. Better luck next time, Justice. Well, we've certainly taken a detour from our cross-examination, but the defense appears to be lacking proof. I'm forced to end the cross-examination of Christoph Gavin at this point.
Apollo, do something!
I'm thinking, but without evidence, I don't have anything I can use on him. Very well. This ends the special witness's cross-examination. The show's over, yet the crowd screams for more. Only now do I understand why. Prosecutor Gavin? Frankly, I'm relieved. This has been bothering me for 7 whole years. And I'm tired of the whole youthful ink scene. Now's our chance. Let's clean out the family closet, eh, Christoph? Clavier, you're spinning out of control. Calm yourself before you say something you'll regret. Spinning out of whose control? Mine or yours? Take a moment to consider everything you've built. Your reputation as a prosecutor, your fame with the masses. You could lose it all, Clavier.
Apollo, did you see that? He's trying to press Prosecutor Gavin.
Prosecutor Gavin, try to remember what's really important to you. You amuse me, Forehead. I couldn't forget what's really important to me even if I tried. In fact, I haven't, not even once. 7 years ago. Finally, you just couldn't resist, could you, Hair Right? Resist what? Presenting solid evidence? Might I request we put the current cross-examination on hold? The prosecution would like to call a new witness. State your name and occupation for the record. I'm familiar with the trial. I've watched the video several times. Didn't you find anything unnatural about it? Unnatural? Well, you did seem unusually well prepared. I mean, Mr. Wright had only just presented his evidence, and the next moment you call in Drew Misham. It was almost as if... Almost as if what? Funny, it didn't even occur to me to wonder. But now that I do, I see there's only one possible explanation. Almost as if, from the very beginning, you knew Mr. Wright was going to present that evidence. Ah! Correct. I knew that if I applied the usual pressure, Phoenix Wright would eventually come up with that forged diary page. Don't do this, Clavier. I knew because you told me, Christoph. What? It was the night before the trial. Clavier. Christoph? Odd seeing you at the prosecutor's office the day before the trial. I won't be appearing in the trial, actually. Huh? Why not? I won't be facing off with you on your first trial, apparently. But in exchange, I brought information. Information? The attorney who'll be there in my place tomorrow is not to be trusted. Don't even give him the benefit of your respect. Listen, I want you to call in a special witness. Then... I wondered about it at the time. How did Christoph know so much? Prosecutor Gavin. Christoph, we were supposed to face each other in that trial. A fair fight, brother to brother. I deserved that much. You let me borrow the victim's belongings. You showed me all your research on the case. The victim's belongings? Which would have included Magnifi's diary, wouldn't it? Mr. Gavin? My, Clavier. You disappoint me. You find trees yet miss the forest. You're the one missing the forest, Mr. Gavin. You can't sweep this under the rug. Not anymore. Tell me what was going on behind that trial. Why not? I've achieved what I came here to do. I see no harm in a little reminiscing.
Apollo!
I think we're finally going to shine a light on the black belly of this thing, Trucy. We've done everything we could. I hope it's enough. 7 years ago, the day before the trial, I visited the detention center at the request of my client, Zach Ramari. 2 cards. 1 card. Showdown time. Enough. You lose, Gavin. Thanks for the work. Now go. To be honest, I don't know what his reasons were to this day. As far as I could tell, he dismissed me as his representation because I lost in a game of poker. I can come to no other conclusion.
Daddy used to say something. If you want to know a man, you have to compete.
Zach wasn't watching his points or the cards. He was watching the man behind the cards, Christoph Gavin. I couldn't believe it. Phoenix Wright? A second-rate attorney who relies on luck and bluffs. He dismissed me and went with that pitiful excuse for a man? He deserved to die for that error alone. Hold it! So the one who requested that forgery was... Oh, I'm not admitting to anything. My point is, these 2 men shamed me and I could not forgive that. Phoenix Wright and Zach Ramari both deserved what they got. So you asked Mr. Misham to forge that evidence so you could win? But then when you were dismissed as Zach Ramari's attorney, you used your forged evidence as a trap. You fed me information about the forgery you made. Then you gave your dirty evidence to him. You're free to imagine what you will. My point is that all I had imagined came to pass. Everything went perfectly. Ha! Incredible. If I wasn't laughing, I'd weep. Prosecutor Gavin? Perfectly. You're mad, Christoph. Stop fooling yourself. What are you talking about, Clavier? Tell me, how did that trial end? Cancelled, when the defendant vanished. Ah, I get it. So, Christoph, you've been living in fear for 7 years. What? You were afraid your forgery would be revealed and your reputation trashed. You couldn't leave things to chance, so you watched everyone involved with the case for 7 years. You know, he always felt like he was always being watched. That's what he said, every day for 7 years. But I felt it too. Journalist sure he is being watched, end quote. Don't you wonder why Zach Ramai got rubbed out after 7 years? Right after coming into contact with me? Wait just a minute. Zach Ramai was seen by this reporter? How is that possible? Was he alive after being gone 7 years? Finally, I knew this moment was coming. I just didn't think we'd get here so fast. Zach Ramai gone missing for 7 years. Trucy's father.
What's wrong, Apollo? Go get him!
Right. Leave it to me. Allow me to refresh the court's memory. 6 months ago, Christoph Gavin was charged with murdering a mysterious traveler. I remember him quite well. Dottie Smith, was it? Poisoned in a Chinese restaurant. Tragic. That's not what happened. None of that is what happened. Why did he... The details don't matter right now. What matters is that traveler was Zach Ramai.
What is it, Apollo?
Huh?
Keep going. We'll talk about it later.
Did he already know? She can recognize her dad. She can recognize her dad. Someone please explain this. Mr. Justice, can you explain this? It all started 7 years ago. The great magician Magnifique Ramai's death started it. Magnifique Ramai's death and his student Zach Ramai, the suspect. Whoever defended Zach in court successfully would be famous beyond belief. Thinking that, Christoph Gavin did the unthinkable. He forged evidence. Through Misham? Actually, it was his daughter, Vera, who really did the work. You took precautions when you had that forgery made, didn't you, Mr. Gavin? Precautions? To keep people from talking, of course. These two know too much. Leave them alive and there'll be nothing but trouble. That's when you planned your poisoning of the forgers. Atropine. Applied to a commemorative stamp. But luck was on Mr. Misham's side. The bomb didn't go off. His daughter. She saved him by taking the stamp. I see. That wasn't the only bomb he set up. The Ariadone nail polish. Of course. You noticed something when you requested that forgery. When Vera Misham is nervous, she has a bad habit. A tendency to bite her nails. Ah! That nail polish was her good luck charm. She was almost kidnapped once. Since then, she's been... Well, you can see for yourself. She refuses to leave the house.
That person gave me a good luck charm, but when I absolutely had to go outside, it protects me.
Yes, apparently she received something. A gift. She won't tell me what it was. It was from that client, the one who wanted that note made. It was his insurance. Insurance? As long as she lived quietly at home, there was no danger to her. But what if she had to go outside? If she ran into any trouble, she'd become nervous. And the nail polish would do the rest. His time bomb sat there for 7 years. And then, they went off almost simultaneously. If you're finished, may I return to my cell now? I'm not accustomed to standing for such long periods of time. Mr. Gavin! Have you heard a single thing we've said? Oh, I listened quite closely to your little tale. Quite an entertaining piece of fiction. What? Clavier, surely you understand. We're back to the evidence. The lacking evidence. Nothing proves a link between him and atropine that took Drew Misham's life. What about the restaurant? You killed Zach Gramarye to keep him from talking. I killed no man of that name. Read over the report again if you like. The victim was a traveler by the name of Shoddy Smith, about whom we know little less. You can't seriously think I knew he was that particular fugitive. Okay, then why did you kill him? I plead my right to remain silent. Remember, this court did not convene to put me on trial. The defendant's name is Vera Misham, suspected in the murder of her father. My trial's been finished for 6 months now. I'm afraid we have strayed considerably from our purpose here. This court concurs with the witness. It is defendant Vera Misham who is on trial here.
No! But you were doing so well, Apollo!
As long as there is no evidence to support the accusation against him, this course of inquiry cannot find Vera Misham innocent. Your Honor, Phoenix Wright spent 7 years collecting this evidence. You still don't get it, do you? Let us assume there was poison in the nail polish. Who then was responsible for causing Vera Misham to bite her nails? What? It wasn't me, I know that much. The one who brought that poison to her lips was you. What? Evidence is everything. There is nothing more. I believe this discussion has reached its conclusion. Your Honor! Mr. Justice, you have performed admirably well for a novice attorney. I respect your partner, Phoenix Wright's determination as well. However, without direct proof, you have nothing. Isn't that right, Clavier? Unfortunately. Yes, Christophe, you're right. That is, you would have been right until now. What? Did the news not reach your desk in solitary? The eyes of the nation are on this courtroom today. This is the trial case for a new judicial system. That's right. I'd totally forgotten. The jurist system. Jurist, you say? The current judicial system has been deemed too closed off from society. This new system attempts to inject the wisdom of common citizens into the law. Common citizens? Wisdom? Is this some kind of a joke? What could we possibly gain by doing this? Entrusting our judicial system to a mindless, emotional mob of irrational mouth breathers? Common citizens have something called common sense. Common sense is now restricted by the law. Nonsense! There's only room for two in this court, me and the law. Keep the riffraff out. Out, I say! They're not in the court, actually. They're watching everything by video camera. Oh my god, they turned to look. That's so funny. How can you allow this? Incidentally, the one responsible for making this happen was Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright? So, everything was leading to this. Of course. Right. 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 Right! Oh no, he's disheveled! I won't accept, I can't accept, this is no court. Law, the law is everything, law is absolute. You'd let ignorant swine soil your courts? Christoph, it's over. Clavier, the law is absolute? You can't be serious. What? Odd, I thought you spent your life looking for loopholes. The law isn't absolute, it's filled with contradictions. The law is the end product of many years of history, the fruits of human knowledge, like a gem polished to a gleam through trials and errors. It is this fruit we receive and pass on and face in our time, and it is always changing, growing, nurturing. It is our task as human beings. Except for you, Christoph, you aren't changing, you've stopped. You're not in need anymore. I couldn't think of anything to say. Maybe because I still haven't seen enough. But someday, I'll know what law is, and I'll fight to change it if I have to. I see no need to prolong this trial. This began as the trial of Vera Misham, accused of murdering her father, the painter Drew Misham. However, several other incidents were reviewed, and we seem to have reached a conclusion. Before this court declares a verdict, I await your decision, jurists of the court. For the death of Drew Misham, how do you find the defendant, Vera Misham? Innocent or guilty? I turn to you now to consider this matter. October 9th, 12:48 p.m., Jurist Chambers. This ends the trial for this case. Only the verdict remains to be decided. Defendant Vera Misham is currently in intensive care. If a decision cannot be reached today, it may never be reached. The factors involved are simple. Did the defendant poison her father that night? If so, she is guilty. Or was there another reason for Mr. Misham's death? Did another person poison him? If so, she is innocent. A panel has been provided for each of you to input your decisions. That is all.
Please, wait!
Yes, jurist number 6?
There's something in the jurist handbook here. Persons involved with the case may not be jurists.
That is correct. I've looked into all your dossiers. None of you were involved with the development of the case.
With the development of the case? I see.
Does that answer your concern? It's time for your verdicts. Make your decision in the case against Vera Misham. After 7 years, the truth is ready to be heard. Judge wisely, judge well. Jurist number 6 seems to be La Mirar. And she has a bracelet? She has the other bracelet. That's interesting. And so a verdict was reached on October 9th, 2:14 p.m. The first verdict under the jurist system. Innocent, by unanimous decision. The record will show that when the verdict was announced, special witness Christoph Gavin laughed. A laugh louder than any heard before or since. A laugh that echoed in the halls of justice, lingering for what seemed like hours. October 10th, 8:30 a.m., the morning after the trial. In an intensive care ward, a true miracle occurred. Vera Misham opened her eyes. Hickfield Clinic. Vera, I'm so glad. Don't cry, Apollo. I'm happy too, and proud. You did well, Apollo. I thought about what if Vera, Hey now, don't you start crying too. Sorry you had to see us like this. Vera? Thank you so much, Apollo. Thank you. No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have pressed you like that. If I hadn't, you never would have bitten your nails. No, I was wrong. Staying locked inside like that, clinging to my good luck charm. Vera. When I opened my eyes and saw you, I finally understood. It's important to be a part of the world. To see things with your own eyes. It looks like that poison has some effect after all. It killed off whatever was holding Vera back from life. I knew you'd pull through, Vera. I mean, that's what Apollo was fighting for the whole time. Your future. I won't forget it. Here, let me thank you. No, really, it's okay. Aw. Oh, look, it's me. I love it. Thanks. Any spiky hair. Is that me? He really captured your essence, Apollo. Well, I think so at least. That reminds me. Do you know where the other lawyer is? The other lawyer? Oh, you mean Daddy. Except he's not a lawyer anymore. My fault, isn't it? Sorry. Oh, no. That's not what I meant. No, it's okay. I'm through looking away from the things I've done. I hope I can look him in the eyes again someday and apologize. I'm sure he'd be happy to hear that. He brought all those things for me when he came to visit earlier. You mean that stack of videos? Mr. Wright finished watching them all? You know, I knew my real daddy was alive. Huh? I was there 7 years ago, remember? I was the one who helped him vanish from the courtroom. You did what? How? I'm not telling. He promised me that day he went away. We may not meet again for some time, Trosi. But know this, I will be watching, and one day I shall return. You're the next Grandma-ie, after all. Ha 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 ha! Oh, Trosi. In the end, he couldn't keep that promise, could he? It's okay. He thinks it's my daddy now, even if he can't really play the piano. That he can't. Oh, and I've got you too, even if your voice is kind of loud sometimes. Glad I made your list. Hey, come to think of it, where is Daddy? The one who can't play. Do you know Apollo? I think he said he had to meet someone. I wonder. Maybe it's a new mommy. Sigh. Oh, Trucy. Yes, Farah? I was wondering, could you show him to me once more? Sir Hat, was it? Oh, he's not been knighted. Yet. Here goes. Do as an impersonation, Mr. Hat. Objection. Ahem. Not loud enough. And I like Miss Magic underwear better anyway. That's Magic Panties, Apollo. So, your memory's returned. Mr. Wright, was this all a part of your plan too? I don't know what you're talking about. When I lost my memory, I was reborn as La Mirar. But you knew my true identity, did you not? That is why you chose me as one of your jurists. Ah, you're thinking into it too much. Besides, there was no guarantee that regaining your memory would make you happy. Of course it is a happy thing. For so long, I thought I was alone. But now, I know I have children. 2 dear children. So proud of them. Hold up! La Mirar? is actually Thalasel Grammayi. Apollo and Trucy's mother? That's bizarre. How'd she end up in Borginia? I'm so proud of them. This too, I think, is thanks to you. Are you going to tell them? They do not know? Nope. They don't know their mother. They don't even know their siblings. I will go to them when the time is right. Until then, Don't worry, I'll take care of them for you. They're very important to me too. A little annoying at times, but still. I have to keep an eye on her at least, because I'm the only one who knows how she really feels on the inside. Your bracelet. Yes, I've seen a lot of mysterious things these past 7 years, but your bracelets were the strangest of all. I remember meeting him half a year ago now in Christoph Gavin's office. And then I met you. Two fates destined to intertwine, and I was there when they crossed. I'll never forget that. Such a small thing, that bullet, yet it tore who I was away. "10 years ago, during a simple rehearsal. It was a miracle no one died, but I didn't survive that accident. That is why I left the troupe, my family. Now my memory has returned. I am myself once more. For the first time, I am glad to be alive, Mr. Height. Speaking of miracles, Vera Mission regained consciousness this morning. I can only hope she's as glad as you are. It is a strange thing, fate. Sometimes our life is taken, sometimes our life is spared. You know what I've been thinking? People don't die that easily, really. As long as they've got something worth living for. And that's pretty much the end of my story. For now, anyway. I've still got a long way to go, and this power of mine, well, it needs some work. But there's hope now. We'd lost it, but somehow we found it again. That's why people are smiling again. Hope. Yeah, I think I'll keep at this lure thing for a while. Oops, training time. Gotta go. Courts of Steel, here comes justice!
Objection!
I'm glad you're staying with the agency, Apollo. It's like I found my long-lost big little brother. Oh, and don't you worry about Troop Grammarie. Trucy's on the case. Now that I have this, thanks to Daddy.
Trucy Grammarie? Frankly, I got my doubts, but Hat's Grammarie, now that'll back 'em in. It's not every day you get a trial that rocks harder than one of our gigs, yeah? That's why it's over. The governors are breaking up. The news caused a run on tissues at supermarkets nationwide. You're the real stars now. I look forward to our next jam session. Well, it's finally over. You know, thinking about it, I've been a piano player longer than I was a lawyer. Now that everything's sorted, I've got time on my hands. Maybe I'll take some lessons. Or maybe I'll take the bar exam. Again. So, I was standing around eating snackoos the other day when I got this crazy idea. What if they were golden? You could augment the crunch, or better yet, make them ding. Ah, the power of science. Although the preservatives might not be 100% safe.
In unlikely event you are wanting Russian place, come to Borscht Bowl Club. The only thing colder than restaurant is borscht. Duh, but a greater challenge is being required. Then come to the hideouts. You know who to ask for. So, Kitaki Pastries is getting back to its eastern roots. Spread the culture and all. Yo, boss! Culture time! This is how we write fruits, capiche? But we're still about giving back to the people. Yo, boss! PR time! And this is how we write people, alright? Not that Waki's paying any attention. Woo! Kids. Bizoy! Chinese characters on cake was a fly idea like 3,000 years ago. Believe that. Man, you want to make it today, you gotta keep it real, you know what I'm saying? Yo, that's why I made the OG cracker, for real. I know it don't look like no cracker, G. What, you want me to call it the OG muffin? I don't know where all this talk about food is coming from. You ask me, there's only one food, and that's noodles. Noodles forever. I got a new one too, see? This time I just put a big chunk of salt in the bowl. Why pretend? Elda's noodles is about to salt. Salt forever. I keep doing this high-pitched whiny voice when I try and do some of these accents. Oh, this one is high-pitched. My exceptionally inquisitive nature has won me an unequivocal adoration in my department. You see, they used to call me Wesley Stinkler and Wesley Sticky Hands. But no longer. I have a new name, one that reflects my true academic nature. Wesley Sicko reporting. Yes, curiosity is a sickness, and I am the cure. Wesley Sicko. Now that is, that's an interesting thing to be known as, Wesley Sicko. Thank you to the localization team for their hard work on this game. You guys knocked it out of the park. I do not know how to thank you for all you've done. Light has returned to my life and with it joy. I may have lost years, but I have gained a treasure. 2 treasures, in fact. I will think of them when I write my next song. Okay, Thalassa La Miroir. I see you. She's no longer wearing the garments. Brushel, brushel, brushel. Brushel, brushel, brushel. Brushel here, back on the beat with another interview. Eh? How do I feel about how things turned out? No scoop yet, but journalist confidence in mint condition. End quote! I've decided to keep painting. Originals only, of course. I suppose I'll have to see a bit of the world outside to find what to paint. But I know there are good people out there now. I've met them. The door is open. The world is waiting. Thank you. There's my favorite little agoraphobe. She's just like me for real. Aw, brother and sister. How sweet. Drawn by Vera Misham. Adorable. Hinaba Succession awarded. Congrats, you've unlocked a special bonus in the music and background setting screen. Continue on to the next game. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Hold up. I need to be right back.
Briashbech just redeemed Hydrate.
Thank you for the lurk. And thank you for the hydrate. I'm back. Continue on to the next game. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. We have anime cutscene. The bomb? We're starting off with a bomb? In the courtroom? That's ridiculous. Oh my god. Damn! We got a terrorist attack! Not the courtroom!
These are dark times, where the law has been reduced to rubble. And it's up to us to restore it to its former glory.
Who is us? Phoenix Wright, of course.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It looks like your target finally decided to make a move. Don't you worry. I've got a trusty new partner on board.
Done.
Whoa! The future is here.
Let's do this.
She's been with us for half a year, though I can hardly believe it. Anyway, her power will be our greatest weapon.
No, my greatest nightmare! This is why I'm scared of stairs. You can't trust them bitches.
Yeah, it's for this very reason I returned. Time to bring it to an end.
It's time for justice! It's justice time! Aw, so cute. Phoenix writes, Spiky here at law. Who is this mysterious stranger? It's Apollo Justice. What happened? Was he caught up in the bombing? Dual Destinies. Does that mean we get to play as a new one and as Apollo too? Turnabout countdown. Oh, I should probably change the The best thing about bombs is how they erase and destroy without discretion. Now all I have to do is pin everything on that little girl. Oh, dude, really? December 17th, 9:22 a.m. District Court. Defendant Lobby, number 5.
Nope. Not feeling nervous at all. It's amazing what a girl can get used to. Even a tense atmosphere like this is no biggie.
You doing okay, Athena?
Oh, Apollo! Yeah, doing great. Like, hum a little tune great.
Oh yeah? Well, that's good to hear. Although, I could have sworn I heard your voice crack for a second there.
Oof, I'm that transparent, huh? Cracking? No, my voice isn't cracking. Nerves of steel here, I tell ya.
And he's got cords of steel.
This is Apollo Justice. He's a fellow lawyer at the office I work for. Apollo is the lead for the defense on this case. But I'm going to be there at the bench with him, doing what I can to help out. I'll do whatever it takes to defend Junie. Speaking of steel, how are you holding up? That explosion really did a number on you.
I'm just happy that you're okay, Athena. Although, I can't pretend I have no connection to this case. That's why I'm gonna see to it that Juniper's name is cleared. And I'm sure you feel much the same way.
You got that right. I won't rest until Junie is completely cleared of all suspicion. Apollo, Athena. Oh. Thank you for doing this for me.
Junie!
Hey, are you okay? Sorry about that. I always seem to go into coughing fits whenever I get nervous. This kind of thing never happens at home in the forest, though.
This is Juniper Words.
She's my dear, dear childhood friend, and she's also our client for this case. The news keeps repeating that Junie is the alleged bomber. But that's ridiculous. There's no way Junie would do anything like that. I brought you a little snack, Tina. Just a little something from my garden. Hey, thanks! So, is this an orange or a tangerine? It's an orange. My grandma says that orange is the color of strength and endurance. Oh, I get it. Strength for the trial, right? Junie, you're always so good to me. Geez, look at me. Standing here clutching an orange to my chest with tears in my eyes. Well, don't you worry. We'll be so powerful in there, they won't know what hit them. Right, Apollo?
Yeah, that's right. Come what may, this is one trial we just can't lose. Oh, shit.
Apollo! Apollo!
Ugh.
Blood is seeping through his bandages. One of his wounds must have opened. All this time he was trying to put on a brave face, but he was really overdoing it.
Mr. Justice.
Huh?
The trial is about to start, sir. Please proceed to the courtroom.
What? Now? But Apollo's in no state to defend.
I have to defend Juniper.
What are we gonna do? The trial is about to start, with or without us. There's only one other option I can think of at a time like this. But even if I called him now, he'd never get here in time. No, wait. There's something else I can do. Apollo, give me all the evidence for the case.
Huh? What are you gonna do?
Bailiff,
Yes, miss?
the defense would like to submit a substitution of attorney petition. Dina!
You're not seriously.
I just concentrate on getting better. You just concentrate on getting better. I'll defend Junie.
All by yourself? Athena, stop for a second, think about what you're saying. You've never once taken a case on alone before, right?
No hay problema. I can handle it, I think. But I guess it's really up to you, Junie. Would you be okay with me taking over? Sure. I believe in you, Athena. And that's enough for me. You're worried for me, aren't you? To be honest, I'm pretty nervous too. I think my heart might just burst out of my chest. But you're in no shape to stand at the bench now. So you'll just have to leave it to me.
Alright. I can see your mind's made up anyway. I hate it that I can't be there. But I know you'll give your utmost to defend Juniper.
You bet I will. Rest assured of that. My name is Athena Sykes. I'm still just a newbie, but I'm a lawyer. This is only the second time I've taken the lead in a defense case. It'll be the first time I stand up there alone, though. But I have to do this. It's the...
Text skip is off, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, that's on.
But I have to do this. And I'm definitely not about to let anything bad happen to Junie. December 17th, 9:46 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 5.
Court is now in session. All rise. All rise. Court is now in session for the trial of Juniper Woods.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is also ready, Your Honor. Aha! And what is the meaning of this? I was under the impression that Mr. Red Monkey would be my opponent today.
Yes, well, a substitution of attorney petition was submitted just a few moments ago. Due to the explosion in the courthouse yesterday, Mr. Justice is unable to continue.
Yesterday? I would have assumed it was like at least a few days, but he was going to trial the day after surviving an explosion.
Dude, no. No wonder your bandages were opening. That's disturbing. Go to bed. Like, let other people handle shit.
I see. Not at all surprised to use that as an excuse to run away. With me as an adversary, who wouldn't want to feign illness in order to escape? What? The nerve of that guy. I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. Well, I would if I wasn't so nervous. Ugh! That arrogant jerk! You arrogant jerk! Oh no! Widget! Is my hearing getting worse? I could have sworn I heard the defense say something just now. No, you didn't hear anything at all, especially not from me.
How odd. I could have sworn I also heard something.
Oh, that would be my indispensable partner, Widget. He sometimes blurts out what I'm thinking. Well then, if that's the case, then it's a clear contradiction to what you just stated. Contradiction? You just stated that you said nothing. However, if that device of yours is what you're thinking, then you indeed said I was. What was it? Elegance at work? Eep! Actually, it was arrogant jerk. At any rate, what does it matter if it's a red monkey or a yellow monkey facing me? No fresh out of law school rookie can defend this witness.
Mr. Payne, I believe that's enough. Let us get back to the case.
Of course, Your Honor. I'm more than ready to show this little girl why they call me the Rookie Humiliator. I knew it. He really is an arrogant jerk. Arrogant jerk!
Miss Sykes, if you continue to insult the prosecution, I will remove you from this court.
Ack! I'm very sorry. It was just a knee-jerk reaction.
Now then, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, if you please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now then, the incident occurred yesterday here at this very courthouse in courtroom number 4. At that time, the trial for a certain bombing was being held in courtroom number 4.
Yes, I was presiding over that trial as well. And Mr. Justice was there as the lawyer for the defense.
A bomb that was being presented as evidence suddenly went off during the trial. It was a terrible incident, and courtroom number 4 was completely destroyed. Fortunately, we were able to start evacuation procedures before the explosion occurred. Just a few seconds more and it would have turned into a horrific loss of human life.
But there was, in fact, one death, was there not?
That is correct, Your Honor. When courtroom number 4 was examined after the blast, the body of Detective Candace Arm with... Candace Army? Can disarm me. Oh! Can disarm me. I get it. Was discovered. She was to take the stand as a witness later in the trial.
I suppose she wasn't able to evacuate in time. What a terrible tragedy. I must admit, I stumbled at least 10 times myself before I was able to escape. You got lucky? Stumbling at least 10 times? Like, dude.
Maybe the court should see about getting you even shorter robes. The victim's body was found near the entrance to the courtroom. I suspect she stayed until the very end to help guide the others out safely. Your Honor, allow me to submit as evidence the victim's autopsy report and details about the bomb. Arm's autopsy report added to the court record. Stuffed animal bomb added to the court record. Okay, I know how this works. All evidence for the trial is filed in the court record. When I want to check something out, I just use R. I better take a peek later.
Now then, please call the accused to the witness stand. Defendant, are you feeling all right? You're looking a bit pale.
I'm so sorry. I was feeling a bit weak when I first arrived here at the courthouse. But I'm all right. Junie's really giving it her all. I'd better make sure I do the same. If we could please proceed. Your name and occupation, defendant. Juniper Woods. I'm a high school student.
Miss Woods,
Can you confirm you were in the courthouse on the day in question? Yes, I came to know Apollo Justice through my friend Stina. And so, I was there yesterday to watch the trial and lend my support. Something's wrong. Junie's really scared. Did you know I'm also known as Defendant Humiliator? It looks like I have yet another chance to show everyone how I earned that moniker. Does his arrogance know no bounds? I have to protect Junie no matter what. Hey, you arrogant, Prosecutor Payne. What is it? Do you want me to demonstrate why I'm known as the Rookie Humiliator instead? Deep breaths, Athena. Don't let him get to you. Prosecutor Payne, Junie is telling the truth. Mr. Justice also backed up her claim when we saw him in the defendant lobby. And Junie, he said that he was glad to get the lotus fruit you gave him too. He was? My grandma says lotus fruit is good for your eyes. She says they can even help you see into the future. They can? Then that's the perfect present for a lawyer. And if that's true, I guess he must not have eaten them.
A sweet, meek girl like this, blowing a courtroom to bits? I must say it's very hard to believe.
Objection!
Now, Your Honor. Don't let her seemingly innocent appearance fool you. The defendant had a motive for committing this crime. That's not true. I don't have any kind of motive. And I didn't even know the lady who was killed. I admit the investigation didn't turn up any connection between the victim and the defendant. However, that doesn't matter. The only thing that does is that her objective was the destruction of courtroom number 4 itself. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Why in the world would Miss Words want to do that? That's a very good question coming from a novice such as yourself. But first, a question for the defendant. Have you ever been brought up on false charges? What? Why, yes. Yes, I have. And did that experience cause you to harbor a grudge against the court system?
Objection!
Now, wait just 1 minute. If that kind of thing was a motive for blowing things up, then every one of our clients would turn into bombers.
That's a valid point. We wouldn't have a single courthouse left standing in the land.
I can see the accused isn't the only one who might bear resentment against the courts. But Miss Woods is the only one who could have committed this crime. Why? Because we have found some decisive evidence that proves the defendant's guilt. Decisive, huh? I'll believe it when I see it. It involves a very unique aspect of the bomb itself, Your Honor.
And what exactly was so unique about it?
Why don't we have Miss Sykes answer that question? Huh? Me? I noticed that you appear to be very nervous. And well, gentleman that I am, I'd like to offer you the chance to gain some confidence with such an easy question. Could he be any more condescending? Really, what a thoroughly unpleasant man. L is for loser. Harumph! What did it just say? Nothing. Not a single thing. Now, let's see. What was I supposed to do at a time like this? Oh, I know. The court record. The information I need is somewhere in the court record.
All right, Miss Sykes. Let's hear your answer. What was unique about the bomb that blew up the courtroom? Was it because it was inside a stuffed animal? Right? Yeah. Let me look at everything. Oh, wait. What to say? Okay, I can't examine items in this game. Cause of death, trauma to back of head caused by impact with a flat object. Time of death, between 8 and 11 a.m. The time bomb that destroyed the courtroom, it was hidden inside a stuffed animal when it was detonated. So we go look at the autopsy report, it shows us the murder victim. I think that she was probably killed maybe before, during, or after the bombing. I don't think that she was, that the bombing killed her. I think someone actually killed her before that. Or after that, whichever. Mr. Payne, what kind of simpleton do you take me for? It was stuffed inside a stuffed animal. Its evil intentions covered up by a cute exterior. Very good. Have a cookie. The bomb that went off in the courtroom was indeed hidden inside a stuffed animal. There, how do you like that? Not bad, huh? I am fine, just like I said from the outset. I am fine, just like I said from the start. I can do this. Yes, as I recall, the bomb was inside a stuffed animal the whole time. I never even got to take a look at it. But what connection does this impish elephant have with the defendant?
The answer to that question lies in another piece of evidence, which I have here.
And what, pray tell, is this? It appears to be a little singed.
It's a tale, Your Honor. The tale of a poor victim of the explosion.
This is incredible. Are you saying it's Detective Arm's tail?
Your Honor is still very close, but no. It belongs to this stuffed animal. It's called the Phony Fancy, a rather unpleasant name if you ask me.
He's the mascot for a campaign to eliminate false evidence and false charges, is he not?
Exactly. His motto is phony evidence is just trunked up. That's so wrong on so many levels. The Phony Fancy's tail is made of vinyl cloth, and we found something very interesting on its surface. The defendant's fingerprints. What? The Phony Fancy provided the prosecution with all the evidence we needed. It clearly proves that the accused handled the bomb. Oh... But that doesn't make any sense. Why would Junie's fingerprints be on it?
That does appear to be pretty irrefutable evidence. The court accepts it into evidence.
Phony Fancy tail added to the court record. A piece of the stuffed animal that the bomb was inserted into. The defendant's fingerprints were found on it.
Miss Woods, do you have an explanation for this?
I don't understand. How about you, Miss Sykes? Do you have any plausible explanation to refute this decisive piece of evidence? Well, I can't do it. I can't think of a single thing. But I'd better come up with something for Junie's sake. If you can't produce an answer, we could always go straight to the ruling if you prefer. No! I have to say something fast. Oh no! I can't get my voice to work. Why now of all times? I thought I overcame this already. Maybe I'm still not ready to stand in court.
Whoa! What is this scene? This is disturbing. This game is already really cool.
As you can see, there is no room for debate.
Objection! Why, it's you.
Phoenix Wright?
It's Mr. Wright! Spiky here at law!
Sorry it took me so long to get here, Athena. Apollo explained the whole thing to me over the phone. He asked me to come help you out in his place.
Thanks for coming. I hate to admit it, but I was having a real rough time on my own.
Oh, I don't know. I think you were doing just fine, all things considered. And you hung in there, giving me enough time to get here. Now let's turn things around.
You got it, boss.
Ho ho ho! Look who showed up out of the blue. If it isn't Mr. Phoenix Wright, you always manage to surprise me. Your Honor, Mr. Payne has called for an early ruling, but I believe there are still many things that need to be deliberated. How did Miss Wood's fingerprints wind up on the stuffed animal tail? How was the bomb even detonated? Until these questions are answered, I assert it's impossible for a fair ruling to be made. You are absolutely right. Let us continue from where we left off. I assume you have no objections, Mr. Payne?
Heh. None at all, Your Honor.
Miss Woods really looks like she's having a hard time.
Junie's really struggling, Mr. Wright. I get the sense she's afraid of the courtroom itself.
Because of yesterday?
Yeah, it was understandably very traumatic for her.
Poor thing. And here she is back at the courthouse again, being so brave. I'd like to make a request, Your Honor. If at all possible, I'd like to have Miss Woods rest in the lobby. Given the defendant's condition. Very well, I grant special permission.
You go get some rest, Junie, and leave the rest to us. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about this. Phoenix Wright. I've been looking forward to meeting you.
It's been a while, Mr. Payne.
You're more clueless than I'd heard. I do believe you mean, how do you do? For I am Gaspin Payne. I am the younger brother of your long-standing rival, Winston Payne.
What? Long-standing rival? When were we ever rivals, let alone long-standing?
You'll see, Mr. Wright. I will cleanse Winston of the disgrace he met with it at your hands. Blah, 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 blah.
Sigh, looks like this royal pain is going to be as thoroughly unpleasant as the other.
Your Honor, the prosecution would now like to call a decisive witness to the stand. This witness will testify as to how the accused detonated the bomb in the courtroom.
Very well. Please call your witness, Mr. Payne.
Witness, your name and occupation, please.
Witness.
Name, Ted, donate. Exit, occupation, bomb disposal specialist.
Oh my, what a strange robotic voice you have.
Speech synthesis via typing. It is the same as me talking. Oh, we got some disability representation here. We got mouth words aren't better than words here. This dude is mute?
Like, come on. Now this is pretty cool. I love this, actually.
He sounds exactly like a robot.
Can't you speak in a normal manner?
I can.
He chooses to do this. I love that.
But I do not like to speak. Speaking is inefficient. Energy expenditure. Speaking over typing. Understand?
I understand. Absolutely understand. What an odd witness.
Mr. Tenate was in charge of the bomb for that trial and was there when it went off.
Being a bomb squad specialist, do you have any relation to the victim?
Negative. I first met the girl while on this job. Many people are employed by the police. I know only a fraction of them. However, I was shocked when I first discovered the body of the victim.
Shocked?
I was the first one on the scene after the explosion. I went there to ensure safety, but I ended up discovering a dead body.
So he was the first to discover the body, was he?
He is here to testify about the circumstances surrounding the moment of the explosion.
Very well. The courts will hear Mr. Tenate's testimony. But at the very least, show this court some respect and remove that face guard, witness.
I have robot eyes, too.
When the bomb went off.
The bomb was originally disarmed by me, then transported here as evidence. Bomb name, HH3000, operated by timer or with a remote. I was watching from the gallery when I suddenly became alarmed. I saw that the bomb's timer was counting down.
So even though the bomb was supposed to be disarmed, it somehow got switched off?
Precisely. Activating the timer is very simple. 1. Connect wires. 2. Switch on timer. A monkey could do it. I am sure even you would be able to, Mr. Wright. I guess this makes you the blue monkey in this barrel of fun, boss.
Ahem. I'd like now to begin my cross-examination. Huh? Mr. Tenate, what is that?
HH3000, aka a bomb.
A bomb? Great googly moogly! Yarg! Mr. Tenate, I demand that you disarm it this instant. Great googly moogly! They went overboard. I love that. They were like, the judge is gonna be a little silly this time. Make him a little sillier than usual. I love that.
Disassembly complete. 5.3 seconds. 0.2 seconds short of my personal best.
Are you trying to give me a heart attack? I'm not exactly a spring chicken, you know? My spouse likes to say that to me. He likes to just say, just randomly sometimes, he's just like, you look like a spring chicken. And I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? And I guess now I know that it means that I'm young. I'm youthful. I'm not exactly a spring chicken. I never heard of that before, so now I know what it means.
This is an exact replica of the HH-3000. It is used to practice disarming bombs. Disarm equals success. Explosion equal failure.
An exact replica of the bomb that exploded, is it? That's what it looks like.
I submitted a photograph of the real bomb taken just before the trial. Dimensions: 10 inches height by 10 inches width by 10 inches diameter. Weight: 12 pounds. A perfect replication.
Your bomb does appear to be a very good copy indeed.
Yes, however, I could not replicate the detonation mechanism. It has a very puzzling wiring setup. It is regrettable I could not replicate it.
Witness, that's enough. There's no need to replicate anything here.
HH-3000 bomb updated in the court record. Can be detonated remotely.
And now, if the defense would begin their cross-examination... Huh? Where has Miss Sykes gone to? Athena, you can come out now.
Okay, Mr. Wright, let's get to work.
I guess you were pretty scared, huh?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. He was about to bolt. Hey, put a sock in it, widget.
Die, as transparent as ever.
Now, let's see. Where were we?
We were at the cross-examination.
Oh, cross-examination, of course.
She seems disoriented. I wonder if she's alright. Maybe I should ask Athena if she remembers how to cross-examine to help her focus.
Nah, she'll be fine.
Nah, no need for that right now. She'll be fine.
I'll do everything I can to help. If you can't find any contradictions, and you flub up too often, don't be afraid to ask me for help. Press X when the option to consult with me appears. I'll let you know where I think the suspicious statement is.
Sounds good. I'll be counting on you if I get in a bind. Alright, it's cross-examination time. When the bomb went off.
The bomb was originally disarmed by me, then transported here as evidence. Bomb name HH-3000, operated by oh wait, he already said that.
Hold it!
You say that you disarmed the bomb, but are you really sure it was disarmed?
Absolutely. I can disarm anything in a flash.
That looks more like dismantled than disarmed to me.
Oh,
pardon me. Let's see. Is there any chance you could have forgotten to disarm the bomb?
Impossible. I do not make rudimentary mistakes like that.
They say to err is human. Although the jury is still out on this guy.
If you must know, Mr. Wright, according to the court's own records, the fact that the bomb had indeed been disarmed was officially confirmed.
I guess I can rule out the possibility that he forgot to disarm it. Could you talk about the bomb in a little more detail for the court, Mr. Tenate?
Certainly. Bomb name HH-3000, operated by timer with a remote.
Hold it!
What was the approximate size and weight of the bomb?
Dimensions: 10 by 10 by 10. Weight: 12 pounds. This information is also written on the photograph.
Yes, here it is on the back. According to this, the case is made out of alloy plating 5/16 of an inch thick. That certainly sounds like one thick and very heavy bit of metal.
I bet if I dropped that thing on your foot, you'd be hopping.
If you dropped that thing anywhere, I'd be hopping for the nearest exit. Very well. I believe the court has heard enough about the bomb itself. So, Mr. Tenate, you were keeping an eye on the bomb? Where were you watching from?
I was watching from the gallery when I suddenly became alarmed.
Hold it!
Why were you in the gallery?
My duties may have been over for the moment, but I wanted to keep watch. Even though the bomb was disarmed, you can never be too careful. Explosive devices are very dangerous things.
Ah, how admirably responsible of you. A model to be emulated.
I practice disarming bombs every day.
I practice assembling them too. The disarming part I get, but assembling them?
Well, I'll have you know that I practice presenting evidence every day myself. I see. But do you ever practice having evidence presented to you?
Presented to me?
What?
No,
Then you cannot very well call yourself a professional yet, can you? Grr, that does it. I'm gonna start practicing having evidence presented to me every day. And you better drink some coffee, boss. We're gonna be pulling an all-nighter.
I don't think that will be necessary. Or worth either of our time. So, Mr. Tenate, what did you witness from the gallery?
I saw that the bomb's timer was counting down.
Hold it!
You saw it counting down clearly with your own eyes? I'd hardly think a timer as small as the one on this bomb could be seen from the gallery.
These goggles help me see very small things clearly from very far away. I can even see what you had for breakfast by looking at your tie.
Why do I suddenly feel like a bug under a magnifying glass?
I guess it's possible he saw the timer if he was wearing those goggles.
I'm not so sure. There's something that just doesn't sit right with me.
I don't think I follow.
The bomb was completely hidden inside the stuffed animal. So well concealed, in fact, that it didn't even look like a bomb at all.
So you're trying to find testimony that conflicts with the evidence, right?
That's right. Listening carefully to Mr. Tenate's testimony is just the first step. After that is a matter of taking a look at any evidence that seems relevant.
Remember that you'll open the court record when you go to present something. If you find evidence that conflicts with testimony, present exit. Let's see. This testimony is about when the bomb went off. So I think the state it was in at the time would be pretty important.
A bomb that didn't look like a bomb because it was inside a stuffed animal, huh?
Okay.
Objection!
So you say you saw the bomb's countdown, is that right?
Of course, I clearly saw it counting down to 0.
And I say that you were clearly lying.
What are you talking about?
There is no way you could have seen the bomb's timer. After all, the bomb was concealed inside a stuffed animal. Mr. Tenate, how can you claim to know the bomb was about to go off when you couldn't even see the timer?
But that was Mama.
What?
No!
That does seem like a glaring inconsistency indeed. Witness, how do you explain this?
Well, Oh, that was good, Miss... Ooh, that was great, Mr. Wright. You found a contradiction right off the bat.
Always remember, Athena, when you find an inconsistency in a witness's testimony, there's always a reason behind it. It could be a lie, a hidden meaning, a secret. Whatever it is, it's up to us to dig it out. I feel like the skip text would be okay.
And pointing out every contradiction we find is the best way to do it, right, boss?
Now the question is, what can we dig out of Mr. Tenate?
Well, let me see. No. There must be some mistake. Oh, yes, of course. I remember now. The sound. I knew because of the sound.
Sound? What sound?
When the timer of this type of bomb is switched on, it beeps softly. Beep, beep, beep. It is the sound of the bomb counting down.
A beeping noise, you say? I suppose it would be possible to notice that even with the bomb inside the stuffed animal.
I simply made a mistake. My bad.
Objection!
It is my bad.
How in the world did you hear that the figure wagged? It did a little thing, just a very swift movement I saw at the corner of my eye. How in the world did you hear such a tiny little sound all the way from the gallery?
Listening for the sound of a bomb's timer is an integral part of my work. I constantly undergo training so that I will never miss it.
I hardly think training would help you hear something so soft from so far away. What now?
Are you making light of the fine science of disarming bombs? It is a solemn mission that I put my life on the line to perform. What kind of specialist would I be if I could not hear a bomb's timer?
It's not like disassembling a toaster, you know. No, he's just showing off.
You keep asserting that the sound was too tiny to hear, but the only tiny thing here is your skill as a lawyer. Being mistrustful is not an attractive quality, you know.
And you're just overflowing with attractive qualities, are you?
Or perhaps you have some proof that Mr. Tanate did not hear the sound.
Well, no, but it still seems totally suspect. But it's going to be really hard to prove that he didn't hear something. If I have this correct, the prosecution's argument is that someone reactivated the bomb before it was brought into the courtroom. What I don't understand, Mr. Payne, is why you believe that person to be Miss Woods.
That's simple, Your Honor. Mr. Tanate happened to be there when it happened. He was there when the defendant rearmed the bomb.
What's this now?
It happened before the trial started. It was when Detective Arm and I were transporting the bomb. We brought the bomb to the lobby for the defense. Bomb equaled evidence. The lawyer wanted to see it before the start of the trial. Looking for a chance to get at the bomb, Miss Woods was already there in the lobby. Her goal was surely to rearm the bomb and steal the remote switch.
The remote switch?
Yes, the switch that controls the bomb remotely. Duh. It has been missing ever since the incident.
Missing remote switch added to the court record. A switch that starts the time bomb's countdown. It was stolen just before the blast and is now missing.
I am partially to blame. I left the bomb and remote on top of the transport case. And they were rearmed and stolen when I was talking with the lawyer. The defendant then used the remote from inside the courtroom to start the timer.
Objection!
How can you assert so unequivocally that the bomb was rearmed in the lobby?
Objection!
The bomb was safely secured in the transport case. The only time it was outside of the case was in that lobby. Therefore, that was the one and only opportunity anyone had to meddle with it.
Someone other than Mr. Tanate could have opened the case and taken the bomb out.
Impossible. The transport case is assigned exclusively to me. Do you see this number here? That is my identification number. And I have the only key that can open the case.
Bomb transport case added to the court record. The case Tanate and Detective Arm transported the bomb in. Tanate has the key. Nevertheless, Mr. Payne's assertion is nothing more than conjecture. You have no proof that it was Miss Woods who stole the remote switch.
And by the same token, you have no proof that it wasn't her. But what I do have is a piece of evidence that proves the defendant handled the bomb.
That tail!
5 minutes, 24 seconds, 2.3 deciseconds. The defendant's advantage lasted a mere 5 minutes.
Urk, talk about a rotten hand. As long as they have her fingerprints as their trump card, I'm at a big disadvantage. It appears we will have to hear from the defendant herself once more.
I wholeheartedly agree, Your Honor. I would like to recall Miss Woods to the stand.
I trust you have no objections, Mr. Wright? I'm worried about her condition, but we do need her testimony. On the other hand, I'm not sure I want to make Athena mad.
I can read your feelings, you know, boss.
Guess there's no hiding it from her.
Don't worry, I know we need her testimony. But if anybody picks on her again, they'll pay.
Yeah, she's already at anger level 1.
Don't worry, I'll stop the proceedings before I let anything bad happen to her.
The defense has no objections, Your Honor.
In that case, I will take my leave. But before I do, there is just one more thing, Mr. Wright, is it?
Me? Yes?
Dismantling bombs is my job. Dismantling the case is yours. Do you think you can handle it? I look forward to seeing you try.
Brr. This guy is hiding something. I just know it.
Now, if you will excuse me... Excuse me?
Bailiff, please go out to the lobby and bring back the defendant.
Junie. Hi, Athena.
She looks even worse off than before.
Don't worry, Junie. We're here for you. Thanks, Athena. And I'll do my best, too. You blew up the courtroom because you bear resentment against the courts, correct? No, of course not. What's that you say? I can barely hear you. I haven't done anything wrong. This prosecutor's scary.
Objection!
What an impudent little girl. Sorry, I keep talking in a robot voice.
What an impudent little girl. Stop acting innocent and tell the truth.
This is getting ugly.
You rearmed the bomb because you wanted to blow up the courthouse. Admit it. That's why you went to the lobby where Mr. Justice was. Isn't that right? Mr. Wright, can I go give that prosecutor a smack?
What? Of course not. Do we have to review courtroom manners at 101 again?
We can't let a creep that bullies innocent girls like this off so easily.
We haven't forgotten about how he treated you.
Don't worry about me. Just help Junie. Her heart's crying out. So scared. So very scared.
Looks like Athena's picking something up with her heightened sense of hearing. And it sounds like this time it's the voice of Miss Woods' heart.
Don't deny it. You stole the remote switch and used it in the courtroom, didn't you?
Objection!
Your Honor, please put a stop to this. Mr. Payne is badgering the defendant.
Yes, Miss Woods does seem quite frightened. Mr. Payne, I ask that you behave more like a gentleman.
Ah, but don't you know, Your Honor? There is no more gentle man in this world than I. As if a gentleman or even a gentleman would behave like this. Don't let that rude ruffian win. Athena. How dare you call a gentleman such as I a rude ruffian? I'll have you know I attend a manners class every Saturday. I'm more than just a mere gentleman. I'm a genteel man. Now when you're terrorizing a young lady or not, I'd demand my money back from that manners class if I were you. Irk.
I should probably be the adult here and stop the two of them, but... Mr. Payne, that will be enough.
Certainly, Your Honor. No further questions. Let's move on to the defendant's testimony. Miss Woods, please share with the court what you were doing when the bomb went off.
When the bomb went off.
Well, that day, I was watching from the gallery. The bomb went off, and rubble started falling. It fell on top of me. Jenny's clearly in pain being forced to recall the bombing like this. She can't even get her words out.
This isn't going to work, so what now? Hey, wait a minute. Even if she can't vocalize what she wants to say, we can listen to what's inside her heart. Yes, now's the perfect time to use Athena's power. You can hear it, can't you, Athena? The cries in Miss Woods' heart?
Yes, and they sound incredibly strained. She's so scared. I think she could collapse at any second.
Athena has a unique ability, you see. With her finely tuned sense of hearing, she can hear the words of a witness's heart. In essence, she can sense how a person is really feeling from the tone of their voice. Guess it's all up to Athena and her special ability now. Athena, I want you to use the analytical psychology you studied, and listen to the testimony of Miss Woods' heart.
Okay, boss. I'll give it a go. After all, this is the whole reason I put all that effort into studying analytical psychology. Okay, let's do this.
So your holographic thingamabob can show us how Miss Woods is feeling, right?
In a nutshell, yes. The emotions and images that I picked up on just now were while listening to her testimony. I can enter all of that into Widget and use the mood matrix to analyze them.
We got a new weird thing.
These mood markers here reflect fluctuations in Junie's emotions. When she feels happy or is enjoying the memory, the happy marker will light up. When she feels angry or frustrated, the angry marker will react. When she feels sadness or is frightened by a memory, the sad marker will blink. And when she feels surprised or confused, the surprise marker will let us know.
So with your special ability in Widget's Mood Matrix program, we can track how Miss Woods is feeling as she testifies. Talk about the wonders of technology.
Yep, now let's give it a shot. I'm picking up on some kind of discord or noise in Junie's heart. See here? This is what the noise looks like in the mood matrix. It's a result of inconsistencies between her testimony and her feelings. If we can pinpoint these inconsistencies, the noise level should drop.
Okay, it's time to listen to Miss Woods' true testimony.
Well, that day, I was watching from the gallery. The bomb went off. And rubble started falling. It fell on top of me.
Mine's happy.
I think I have a good grasp on Junie's emotional state now.
This power of Athena's is incredible.
And I'm seeing an unexpected emotion that's inconsistent with the content of her testimony.
What? Already?
Yeah, the happy. Fell on top of me. Look at this. When she says it fell on top of me, the happy marker is reacting.
Well, look at that. That is odd.
There must be a reason for this contradictory emotion. We just need to do some digging. When you find an unexpected emotion, you'll first need to pinpoint it, and then select the unexpected emotion or reaction from the 4 mood markers with A.
Got it!
Widget is registering joy when Miss Woods recalls the rebel falling on her. There must be a reason for this unexpected emotion. Miss Woods, as the rebel was falling, was there also something that made you feel happy?
What? Mr. Wright, the feeling of happiness is spreading throughout Junie's heart. Keep going on this point, and I bet Junie will start to calm down.
Great. Let's hear what she has to say.
Just as I was about to escape the courtroom, the bomb went off. I was so startled. I tripped. And then rubble started falling on top of me. I really thought it was done for. But just then, Apollo came and rescued me.
Apollo?
He used his own body to shield me from the rubble.
So that's when he sustained those injuries.
How do you feel, Junie? Did talking about Apollo give you some courage? Yes, Apollo is just like the sun, strong and bright and warm. Just talking about him makes me feel like a leaf undergoing photosynthesis.
And see? Your coughing stopped all of a sudden.
Oh, you're right. Thank you, Athena.
Looks like we were able to draw out some new testimony.
Hehe, pretty neat, huh? But there's still some noise left, meaning there must still be some discord in Junie's heart.
I guess we'll have to keep going then.
Let me input this new information and update the mood matrix and we'll be good to go. You remember what to do, right?
When I find an unexpected emotion, I should first pinpoint it.
That's right. And then you select it from the mood markers with A. If we can find the reason for the discord in her heart, then we should be able to draw even more new testimony out. Info update. I tried to run, but I was too slow. Before I could get away, the bomb went off. I was so startled I tripped, then rubble started falling on me. I thought I was done for. But then Apollo came and rescued me.
Got it!
You were happy when Mr. Justice rescued you, weren't you?
Yes, I was really happy.
But was there also something you felt sad about at the same time?
Sad?
The reason I ask is, when you were describing how you were rescued, we sensed a little sadness, too.
Oh! I think it's probably because of Bum Rap Riney.
Bum Rap Riney? Well, what do you know? Something new.
That's right. I brought my stuffed animal Bum Rap Riney to watch the trial with me. Bum Rap Riney and Phony Fancy are brothers.
Who knew that the legal world could inspire a whole line of merchandise?
I had Bum Rap Riney with me while I was watching the trial, but it wasn't until Apollo saved me that I realized I'd lost him as I was running away. My poor Riney, a victim of that terrible bomb. Oh, I know. You can see what he looks like in this poster. It's for the campaign to eradicate fake evidence and false charges.
Phony Fancy and Bum Rap Riney, huh? Nothing against the campaign, but why an elephant and a rhinoceros?
Mr. Wright, I don't sense any discord in Junie's heart anymore.
So I guess that means we managed to draw out all of her testimony.
That's right. I'll just make an update with the new info and we'll have the whole picture. So do you think her new testimony will help?
Absolutely. I don't know what I would have done without you, Athena. So Bum Rap Riney was in that courtroom when the bomb went off. Now that we know that, it changes the meaning of that other piece of evidence. All I have to do is present it at the right statement. Info update.
I was watching from the gallery of bum rap Briney. I tried to run, but I was too slow. Before I could get out of the courtroom, the bomb went off. I was so startled I tripped. Then rubble started falling. I thought I was done for. But then Apollo came and rescued me.
That's Ginny's complete testimony. Not bad, huh, Mr. Wright? I should focus on the new statements Miss Woods made. The existence of bum rap writing should turn things around in our favor. It changes the meaning of a certain piece of evidence we already have. All I have to do is present it at the right statement.
Objection!
Miss Woods, I know this trial has been very hard for you, but you can relax now. You are without a doubt innocent. Mr. Wright, what wild assertion are you making now? My wild assertion is simply this. The two stuffed animals were mixed up. The tail the defendant's fingerprints were found on wasn't that of phony Fancy. It was the tail of her gallery companion, Bum Rap Riney.
Objection!
What? What nonsense is that? I can see they're both stuffed animals, yes, but they're completely different characters. An elephant and a rhino. They're as distinct as a defense lawyer and a prosecutor.
But are they really so different? Both defense lawyers and prosecutors strive to protect the peace through law.
Even elephants and rhinos have some similar characteristics. They're both gray, for example.
Anyway, this poster is all I need to prove my assertion to be true. If I may direct the court's attention here, you'll clearly see how the two got mixed up.
Take that!
Well, would you look at that? The two tails are exactly the same. Yes, exactly. The two stuffed animals are based on entirely different animals. But the design of their tails is exactly the same.
Ah!
Order! Order in the court! As long as the possibility exists that the tail belongs to Bum Rap Riney, we can no longer consider it to be decisive proof that the defendant handled the bomb. As things stand, I consider the charges against the accused unsubstantiated. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Payne?
Oh, yes, of course, Your Honor. Ooh, that was great, Mr. Wright. You turned things right around.
Yeah, it's not over yet, but at least we managed to hold out this long. I believe that brings our proceedings for today to a close. Mr. Payne, I'm afraid you have some serious investigating ahead of you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well, let us reconvene tomorrow. Court is adjourned.
That was so exciting, boss. We did it. True to form, you managed to just barely pull it off at the very last moment.
True to form? Gee, I never knew you had such a glowing opinion of me.
Thank you for everything you're doing.
You did great, Miss Woods. You really stuck it out.
And you got really brave at the end, just when we needed you most, Junie. Thanks to you, we were able to turn things around. Well, you were the one who gave me that courage, Thena. Really? Thanks. So, be honest, was I any help at all?
Of course. Without you, we would have never gotten out of that tight spot.
That's great to hear. I may still have a lot to learn, but you can bet I'm going to give it my all. I'll be so good that one day you'll call me your partner.
That's what I like to hear. Analytical psychology. The ability to solve the riddles of a person's heart. Athena's true potential is beginning to really shine through now.
Hey, where's Apollo anyway?
Good question. I almost forgot about him. I assumed he'd still be here in the lobby.
Oh, I know. Maybe he's still in courtroom number 4.
Courtroom number 4? What would he be doing at the scene of the explosion?
When I came out to the lobby to rest, I told Apollo about Bum Rap Riney. I told him I dropped Riney in the courtroom as I was trying to escape before the blast. And then, Apollo said he had an idea where Riney might be, so we went to take a look together. Huh, I guess Apollo can be pretty nice when he wants to be.
So you went looking for Riney together before you were called back into the courtroom?
Yes, I'd had some time to rest, so I was able to go look for him. But then they called me into courtroom number 5 to testify. Apollo insisted on staying there, though. With all those injuries, I wonder how he's managing. I think Apollo might have figured something out.
Wonder what it was.
He told me, I'm going to look for evidence to clear your name, Juniper.
Just maybe he found some new evidence. Just maybe he found some new piece of evidence?
Anyway, we'd better go and see him.
Good idea.
Where are you, Apollo? Trial's over for today. Come on, I know you're... No.
Wait, what? No! No! They didn't just kill Apollo? I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. This isn't exactly how I envisioned the second day of this trial to start, but given how things ended yesterday... Good morning. The mood sure is tense. Not that that's any surprise.
Oh, hey, did you read the paper this morning, boss?
Huh? The paper? That came out of left field.
You didn't read it? Then you don't know the big news. Somebody spotted an abominable snowman way up in the mountains.
Tell me you know the difference between a paper and a tabloid, Athena.
It might show up in the forest where you live, Junie. But you'd better watch out, okay? You really should read the story for yourself. I couldn't even begin to do it justice. Justice?
Huh?
Oh, poor Apollo. And it's all my fault. Athena! Oh, Junie, what was I thinking? I'm so sorry.
What we found yesterday was not Apollo's dead body, thank goodness. He'd been assaulted by someone with a blow to his head and was lying unconscious. We rushed him to the hospital right away, and it looked like he's going to pull through. But it was still quite a shock to stumble into a scene like that.
Is Miss Woods all right, Athena? Well, I managed to get her to stop crying. Now she's resting on that sofa over there.
I guess she really feels responsible for what happened to Apollo.
Poor Junie. She believes that the reason Apollo was attacked is because he was helping her look for something in that courtroom.
Oh? Guess I can see why she'd think that. By the way, how are you doing?
Who? Me?
Yeah, you. I know you're concerned about Miss Woods, but are you alright?
Me? I'm doing just fine, boss. I mean, yeah, it was a huge shock, but I'm alright. People who've studied analytical psychology are great at times like these. After all, they've learned how to control their own emotions too.
Somehow, I don't think it's as easy as she makes it sound. But there's no denying she's a real trooper. Apollo doesn't remember a thing, does he?
Yeah, he can't recall anything for the time right before he was assaulted. Nothing about what he was doing in courtroom number 4, or who assaulted him. The doctor said it's probably due to that hit he took to the head.
Assaulted in a court of law and losing your memory at that. I know how that feels. Yeah, Phoenix does know how that feels.
But who in the world would do such a thing, huh, Mr. Wright? Brr! Just wait till I get my hands on the coward who hurt our Apollo.
Now, Athena. I thought you said you were in control of your emotions. Let's just focus on helping Miss Woods, okay? But I admit I'm just as upset as you.
Okay, boss. You're right. Apollo's assailant can wait until after we clear Junie's name.
That's the spirit. Now let's see. I'd better check the court record one more time before the trial starts. Apollo Justice, assaulted during the trial yesterday. Thankfully he's going to be okay, but he's still at the hospital undergoing treatment. Juniper Woods, our client in this case. A kind-hearted girl who loves nature. She apparently lives in a forest. Candace Arm, the victim in this case, a detective who was heading up the investigation into a bombing incident.
Athena Sykes, a young rookie lawyer at our agency. She's also our client's friend. Gaspin Payne, the prosecuting attorney, the younger brother of another prosecutor I know. This one lacks presence, though. Head Tenate, a police bomb specialist. He was in charge of handling the bomb that exploded in the courtroom. Earth to Mr. Wright! I'm ready whenever you are.
Alright, let's get ready to rumble.
You bet!
With everything that happened with Apollo, I didn't have time for a proper investigation. I can't let that stop me, though. I have to get this right for Miss Woods' sake and Apollo's, too. Court is now in session. All rise! Court will now reconvene for the trial of Juniper Woods.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is also ready, Your Honor. Now then, I believe I instructed the prosecution to further their investigation. Were you able to locate the remote switch in question?
I'm afraid the remote switch is still missing, Your Honor.
I must say I'm disappointed, Mr. Payne. Not angry, I'm just disappointed.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Aha! Looks like the prosecution is just as unprepared as I am.
There is a separate matter, however, that I would like to bring up during the trial.
A separate matter, you say? And what might that be?
I assume you are aware that another incident occurred during yesterday's trial? I'm speaking, of course, of the assault on Mr. Justice in the ruins of courtroom number 4.
Uh-oh. Why is he bringing that up? Yes, what a truly harrowing experience it must be. Poor Mr. Justice.
At the time of the attack, Mr. Justice was not alone. He was with the defendant, Miss Juniper Woods.
He isn't going where I think he's going with this, is he?
The prosecution wishes to indict Miss Woods on the charge of Mr. Justice's assault.
Order in the court. Mr. Payne, the incident under deliberation here is the courtroom bombing. The assault on Mr. Justice has nothing to do with this trial.
But I believe there is a connection between this case and Mr. Justice's assault. Please take a moment to consider these facts. Both events occurred in courtroom number 4. This is the location in courtroom number 4 where the unconscious Mr. Justice was discovered. As you can see, it's quite close to where Detective Arm's body was found. Courtroom number 4 diagram added to the court record. The question is, why did the culprit feel the need to maliciously attack Mr. Justice?
Why indeed? What do you believe their motive to be, Mr. Payne?
I believe Mr. Justice found something in that courtroom while Miss Woods was with him. Evidence that fingered her as the perpetrator of the bombing. Phrasing.
You mean he found some incriminating evidence?
Precisely. And so I surmise that the defendant picked up a piece of rubble and hit Mr. Justice on the back of the head in order to silence him. Ginny would never do such a thing. He was devastated when we found Apollo hurt like that.
Miss Sykes, please control your outbursts.
Ahem. It is the prosecution's belief that by deliberating on Mr. Justice's assault, we will draw ever closer to the truth of the courtroom bombing itself.
Very well. Miss Woods is hereby officially indicted on the charge of assaulting Mr. Justice. What? Why are you listening to Mr. Toupee over there? Although, considering our conversation yesterday...
I think Apollo might have figured something out.
Wonder what it was.
He told me, I'm going to look for evidence to clear your name, Juniper.
Maybe the two incidents really are related after all.
I would like to start by hearing from the defendant herself.
Very well. Bailiff, please bring Miss Wood to the witness stand.
I'm sorry. I can't seem to stop.
Miss Woods. Yes, she's still really upset about Apollo.
Miss Woods, you went to the ruins of courtroom number 4 with Mr. Justice, did you not? Yes, I did. Good. If you would then please testify about what happened to the court.
About what happened to the court.
Alone with Apollo. During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing. Apollo stayed with me, and we went to the courtroom ruins together. But then I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony. Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4. I swear I didn't attack Apollo. Why would I ever hurt such a kind person?
So Mr. Justice stayed by your side while you were feeling unwell? What an admirable young man. I thought his loud voice was his only outstanding feature.
He may look like a little imp at times, but Apollo can be really nice too.
I hope she didn't hurt her wrist backhanding that one out. But one has to wonder, why did Mr. Justice stay behind in the ruins?
I think Apollo might have figured something out.
Something? What kind of something?
Something to do with the courtroom bombing kind of something, I think.
Oh ho! New evidence for the case, was it? That's a very big kind of something indeed.
I believe so. He mentioned looking for some evidence when I was called away.
Objection!
Just as I thought, there is a connection between the two incidents. But the defendant has told a very big lie, Your Honor.
What lie is that?
When she learned Mr. Justice would be looking for evidence, she attacked him. She attacked him to give herself the chance to destroy that evidence. No, I've never.
Objection!
Miss Woods repaid Mr. Justice's kindness with violence. We found the proof of her foul deed there in the courtroom ruins.
What on earth?
Do you see it? There in front of Mr. Justice's right hand? Witness the message he left us.
It's written in blood. WOODS. Why, isn't that...
That's right, Your Honor. It says Woods in capital letters. What? I submit that Mr. Justice left us with the name of his attacker before he fainted.
Apollo's assault photo added to the court record.
No, that can't be true. Why would Apollo write my name? Mr. Wright, the nerve of him leaving that message. Why would he do this?
Hey, don't take it out on me. I don't understand it any more than you do. When we discovered Apollo yesterday...
Apollo? No.
Ah! We didn't even have a chance to rush over to him. As soon as security heard Athena scream, they ran in and cordoned off the area. After that, they were there in courtroom number 4 with Apollo the whole time. We couldn't investigate anything ourselves and had to leave everything to the police. Still, I never thought they would find some bloody writing there. Now then, please begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Damn, they tried to frame her at the end. That's sick. Alone with Apollo.
During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing.
Hold it!
Do you always cough when you get nervous, Miss Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Wright, please do not make Miss Woods nervous by pressing her so ruthlessly. But that barely even qualified as a quasi-question.
Let's help her relax with a little small talk before we dive into the cross-examination. You know, ask her about her hobbies and her crushes and stuff.
Her crushes? Really? I don't know about this.
Apollo stayed with me and we went to the courtroom ruins together.
Hold it!
Why exactly did you go to the courtroom ruins?
We went to look for my medicine to stop my coughing.
Your medicine? Why would your medicine be in courtroom number 4?
I dropped it in the heat of the moment. Bum-rap Riney, he was keeping my medicine safe for me. He has a little compartment that I can put things in, you know?
And Phony Fancy has the same type of pockets. That's where the bomb was inserted.
I'd put my medicine for my coughing fits inside Bum-rap Riney. When I told Apollo about it, he said he'd help me go look for him. There was so much rubble in there. I was worried, but there was no rubber or anything in front of the witness stand. So when we got inside, Apollo went straight there and started looking for my Riney in that area. It was so nice of him to do that for me in spite of all his injuries. Apollo is so strong and kind, like the trees of the forest.
The way she makes him sound, you think Apollo was some kind of ancient god. Oh, wait. So that's why you went to the ruins. I see. That seems to be quite an important fact. Please add it to your testimony, Miss Woods.
Apollo started looking for Bum-rap Riney near the witness stand where there was no rubble.
Hold it!
The area around the witness stand? Are you sure about that?
I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
No, of course not. I was just testing my hearing. Must not upset her. Must not upset her.
Yes, I'm sure that's where we searched first. But then I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony.
Hold it!
That was when you were called to the stand after Mr. Tanate's testimony, right?
Yes, the bailiff came to courtroom number 4 and brought me back to this courtroom.
And what about Mr. Justice? Did he come with you or did he stay behind?
Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4.
Hold it!
I better not ask her about Apollo. I know. I'll use some small talk here to get her to relax a bit. Do you have any hobbies, Miss Woods?
Hobbies? Oh, well, I love growing vegetables in my garden, and I love to knit. I like sewing too. I made this outfit myself. Keep it up, Mr. Wright. It's working. Now ask her if she has a crush on anyone.
Is there anyone in particular you like right now?
Objection!
Mr. Wright, is that question even remotely related to this case?
To this case? Not really? Mr. Wright, you will refrain from asking questions unrelated to the case at hand. Sorry, Your Honor. -1 to brownie points.
Miss Woods, please continue with your testimony. I believe you were telling the court about your attack on Mr. Justice. I swear I didn't attack Apollo. Why would I ever hurt such a kind person?
Hold it!
So you think Mr. Justice is kind?
Yes, very kind. He rescued me. He's like the sun, strong and warm. He makes me feel strong too.
The only adjectives I associate with the sun are sweltering and oppressive.
But then Apollo got hurt, and it's all my fault. Junie, Apollo's going to be fine. He's just like the sun, right? Well, the sun doesn't just drop out of the sky. You really think he'll be fine? But the sun does go down at night. Then that means Apollo could...
Mr. Payne, I do not think much of men who make young ladies cry.
Gah! So Apollo was trying to help Juniper. Who knew that Apollo could be such a sweetheart? It must have been pretty hard on him too.
Oh, it must have been pretty hard on him too with all that rubble everywhere.
Now that I think about it, there's something odd about what Apollo was able to do.
You know, considering what Miss Woods said just now, I think you're right. That courtroom was in a very unusual state after all. Which leaves the million-dollar question. What would explain this contradiction? Anyway, let's see what happens when I present what I suspect is our answer. Okay, so it's this one.
Objection!
So he started his search with the witness stand, you say?
That's right. I guess maybe he wanted to start from the furthest point in the room. He was being so brave and strong.
But that's odd. Under the circumstances, he shouldn't have been capable of that.
But he was! And he still is! He might not look it, but he really is brave and kind too.
No, that's not the part I'm finding fault with. Someone has a crush on Apollo. Ooh. What you are claiming is something that no one should have been able to do. But I should think that anyone can be brave and kind if they wanted to be, Mr. Wright. True, anyone can be brave and kind, but if you would please take a look at this diagram. With the courtroom in the state, how was it possible to walk up to the witness stand?
Oh!
I see your point. The rubble blocks off access to the area around the witness stand.
Does such a tiny inconsistency even matter? Perhaps the witness is simply misremembering it.
Irk. Right now, I'm not so sure it matters.
A real man doesn't make mountains out of molehills, you know?
But that's precisely what Mr. Wright does best. I call slander, Your Honor. So, was it really impossible to approach the witness stand? I have to say, it's a bit hard to tell with any accuracy from this diagram. Mr. Payne, do you have any other photos of the crime scene?
Let me see, Your Honor. Ah, yes, I have one more. Here it is. It's a more pulled back version of the photo I presented before.
Apollo is shown collapsed on the floor. The bloody writing is also visible. Apollo's assault photo updated in the court record. Huh? What's that hunk of metal on wheels? Mr. Payne, is the metallic object in that photo Mr. Tanate's bomb transport case?
That's right. Is there some problem?
Yes. That transport case was there in courtroom number 4 when the bomb went off. It must have been there ever since.
Oh, That's it.
Miss Woods, have you remembered something?
Yes, I just realized. Its position. It's different from before.
Its position? The position of what?
The position of that big metal thingy.
The bomb transport case?
Yes, when Apollo and I went there, it was in a different place. Where the cases in the photo was open space, so it was easy to search the stand.
I see. So where was the transport case when you and Mr. Justice saw it?
As I recall, I think it was more to the right.
To the right? Then that means, in that case, the attack was over there at the time of Apollo's attack? The case was over there at the time of Apollo's attack?
Who cares what the transport case was when? What difference does it make? It has nothing.
Objection!
Where the transport case was has everything to do with this discussion. In fact, it's so important that it's enough to turn the prosecution's argument on its ear.
What?
Well, that certainly sounds very relevant indeed. And you sound as though you know where the case was at the time of the attack. Yes, Your Honor. This diagram represents the crime scene as shown in the photo. And this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault on Mr. Justice. Alright, I have this. The bomb transport case was here at the time of Apollo's attack. Oh, I'm having a hard time speaking now.
Take that!
Your Honor, I assert that this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault. But that's...
Inconceivable!
Miss Woods, was this where the transport case was when you saw it?
Yes, that's where it was.
Thank you, Miss Woods. I'm sure the court has noted an interesting fact about this position. The transport case covers up the writing in blood. Exactly. If the transport case was in that position at the time of the assault, then no message could have been written there, because the case was in the way. Which leads us to conclude that Mr. Justice couldn't have left that bloody writing.
Objection!
Why should we believe the defendant's claim that the case was in a different position? He's obviously lying.
Objection!
The fact that the case was moved after the assault on Mr. Justice is proved by more than Miss Woods' testimony alone.
What? And where is this proof you're talking about?
It's right here in the crime photo. I'm keen to see this proof myself, Mr. Wright. What in this photo indicates that the transport case was moved after the assault? Oh, the tracks.
Take that!
All the proof you'll need, Your Honors, right here? Whoops.
Take that!
What? I'm over here racking up penalties. Okay, so it's not this, and it's not this. Oh, wait. Maybe it's this.
Take that!
Please take a look at the mark that runs over Mr. Justice's bandages here. I see, but what is it? This mark was made by one of the casters from the transport case carrying the bomb. As the case was moved, it ran over his bandages. In other words, the transport case was originally to the right of Mr. Justice. Then, after Mr. Justice was assaulted, the transport case was moved.
What?
Just as Miss Woods said, the case was covering the writing at the time of the assault. Therefore, it was impossible for Mr. Justice to have left that message in blood.
No! You did it, boss. It was a real nail biter, but you pulled it off.
Yep, that should bring down the prosecution's claim like a house of cards. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, that was a very clever deduction. Ah, it was nothing, Your Honor. Nothing but pure genius. Take that!
Boss, I'm sensing a definite smug and braggy vibe coming off of you.
I have just one question, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? If Mr. Justice didn't leave this message in blood, then who did? Huh? What? Oh! Well, looks like I should have taken that train of thought through to the last station.
Well, well. I've heard a lot about this. So this is Mr. Wright's famous bluffing technique, is it?
Ah, this feeling. It brings back memories of the old days. Back when you carved out a name for yourself by bluffing your way through thick and thin.
Gee, Mr. Wright, the judge kind of makes you sound no better than a 2-bit con man. You made your argument with such confidence, Mr. Wright. Now I'd like to hear your answer with just as much confidence.
Hey, until the judge asked the question, you didn't catch on either, Buster.
What now, boss? Hehehe. I hope you didn't bluff your way into a corner.
Think, Phoenix, think. There must be a way through this. I have to take my way to the truth somehow. Who could have written that message in blood? The culprit. If Apollo didn't leave that bloody writing.
Maybe it was Apollo's attacker who wrote it and made it look like Apollo did it?
That seems like the most reasonable explanation.
But wait a minute. I just realized something, boss.
What is it?
Look at that amount. Look at the amount of blood in the photo. It doesn't look like Apollo bled very much. I wonder if it's even possible to write out Woods with just this much.
Hey, you're right. Good thing Apollo didn't lose that much blood. That might be a factor in why he survived the assault.
And since there was so little blood, that pretty much rules out his attacker, huh?
I guess so. But if it wasn't his attacker, then who else could it have been? Who else could have written that message in blood? Yeah, I thought so. Someone else. She's dead, so can't be her. Wasn't her. Wasn't her. Not him, so it might be that. This person with the bloody writing? And what do you base this claim on? Oh, shoot. Then who was it? Wait, what?
Take that!
To be honest, I don't actually have any real proof of this. But I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Besides Apollo, there was one more person who shed blood at the crime scene. A person who shed blood? You don't mean. Oh, but I do. I believe it was Candace Arm who left behind this message in blood. What?
What? Detective Arm? Are you sure you know what you're doing here?
Not really.
Objection!
What kind of ridiculous assertion is that? If you had said the attacker left a message to throw people off, it might have made sense.
At first glance, that would seem to be the most reasonable explanation. However, Apollo didn't shed enough blood to write such an extensive message.
Uh-oh.
Ah, I see. Even the photo makes it clear there wasn't enough blood to write all those letters. And Mr. Justice did survive. I suppose he didn't bleed very extensively in that case.
But why would Detective Arm write the defendant's name? There is no connection between the two whatsoever. And I didn't even know the lady who was killed. I admit the investigation didn't turn up any connection between the victim and defendant. They had never even met each other.
That's very true. Well then, let's see. Then maybe the intended meaning of the message is not what it appears to be. The intended meaning?
Not what it appears to be.
Maybe the message was not intended to be Woods. Coming from you, that's quite the bold statement, Mr. Wright. You wish to assert that this bloody writing could have some other meaning? Yes, Your Honor. For something I pulled out of a wormhole, it could turn out to be true, right?
Objection!
It clearly says Woods, as anyone can plainly see. What other meaning could it possibly have?
Objection!
But Candace Arm was a detective. Maybe Woods only means something to the police. Like a police scanner code, for example. I didn't think of that.
Heh. You may have tricked his honor, but you'll never get the best of me. I have a thing for studying on the weekends, as you may already have guessed. And there is no such radio code as Woods in this state, dear Mr. Right?
Is that a fact?
Don't look at me. I know as much as you do about police codes.
Enough of this. I was quite taken with the defense's new theory. But if they can't substantiate it with anything, then I must end things here. No, please wait, Your Honor. Very well. Before we discuss this theory any further, I demand a plausible explanation. So, Mr. Wright, what is the true meaning of the bloody writing? Well, I believe it's... And no stalling. If you can't come up with an answer quickly, I will declare this discussion officially over. I'm in trouble now. What other meaning could it have, besides the obvious one? Maybe it means something in another language, or maybe it's a code. Think, Phoenix. You can do this. Yeah, what does it really? You can't examine evidence anymore, so... It can't be this. Because it's L10015R. Moods? 5? Doom? 5 Doom? I don't know. Ten by 10 by 10 D. I don't know. I guess I'll just try everything.
Take that!
Okay, let's load. I could just look up the answer, honestly. Okay, I'll look it up. Bloody Woods. Okay, so it was what I was thinking. So it was this.
Take that!
The bomb transport case? I've had it up to here with your shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Take a look at the numbers on this case, Your Honor. L10015R. Doesn't this string look vaguely familiar? L100... What does this have to do with anything?
What could those numbers possibly have to do with the case at hand?
Now please take a look at the bloody writing shown in the crime photo.
Oh, I think I see it.
That a girl. That's one on my side. It says woods. Or you could say it's a horse of a different color, Your Honor. The first character is an OW. It's actually an L and a 1. The next two are zeros. Oh, my goodness! The true meaning behind the bloody writing isn't Miss Woods' name. It's a number engraved on this bomb transport case.
Objection!
What are you talking about? The next part doesn't make any sense. The next number is a 1, but the bloody writing says D.
Objection!
But the number on the case and the bloody writing can be made to match up quite easily. This is how the number on the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing. It writes 2 lines. Oh look, there's an R at the very end. Please erase the third downward stroke of the W and the curved part of the D. Well, would you look at that? L-I-0-0-L-I-O-O-I-S? No, Your Honor, it isn't meant to be read as a word. It's a number L10015, which if you take away the final R, is the exact same number that's on the bomb transport case.
Objection!
Erase 2 lines and they match up, you say? Well, I can change anything into anything else simply by erasing 2 lines. What if we erase 2 lines from your name? Would you be happy as Mr. Rye?
Well, would you, Mr. Rye? The only right spelling is right. Okay, I'm doing pretty well here, and I think I've drawn the right conclusion. Detective Arm's real message to us is the bomb transport case number. Your Honor, the 2 lines were added by the real culprit to intentionally mislead people.
What?
The original message Detective Arm left behind was the transport case number, but whoever assaulted Apollo changed the message.
If you're right, boss, then what do you suppose Detective Arm was trying to tell us?
Good question. What does this number represent?
Do you see this number here? That is my identification number.
Candace Arm lost her life in the courtroom bombing. Her dying message could only have had one purpose.
No!
To tell us the name of the one responsible for the bombing. Well, don't keep us in suspense, Mr. Wright. Tell us who she was trying to name. The culprit that the victim was trying to identify is none other than Ted Tenate. The defense wishes to indict Mr. Ted Tenate on the charge of the courtroom bombing. Ted Tenate? Apparently, disabling bombs isn't Mr. Tenate's only specialty. Somehow, the victim must have realized that he was the bomber. So when she was caught in the blast, she left his bomb transport case number as her dying message. She used Mr. Tenate's own ID number to finger him for the crime. Phrasing there. Ooh. Don't like that.
Objection!
Why would anyone go out of their way to write an ID number? Wouldn't they simply write the person's name?
He's got a good point there. What do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright? That only Detective Arm would know the answer to that, but allow me to offer a theory. Perhaps Detective Arm couldn't recall Mr. Tenate's name in the heat of the moment. As I recall, this was the first meeting between the two. It's entirely possible they wouldn't have been familiar with each other.
Or maybe using the ID number was a way to hide its true meaning from the real culprits, thus lowering the odds that they would erase the bloody writing.
But no matter what the reason, the important thing is the meaning behind her message. The fact remains she wrote Mr. Tenate's ID number.
Objection!
Now, just one moment here. There hasn't been any proof yet that it was indeed Detective Arm who wrote it. The bloody writing wasn't found during the investigation after the blast. If Detective Arm had left the message, it should have been found at that time.
Objection!
Naturally, Mr. Tenate had it before anyone could discover it. And there's a simple explanation for how he was able to do so.
What?
Mr. Tenate was able to cover the message up because he's the first to find the body? The first person to discover the bloody writing was Mr. Tenate himself.
I was the first one on the scene after the explosion. I went there to ensure safety, but I ended up discovering a dead body.
When Mr. Tenay saw that the victim had written his ID number, he used the bomb transfer case to cover up the bloody writing as a stopgap measure.
Oh, so that's why the message in blood was under the transport case.
He didn't have enough time to try and scrub away the writing. If he didn't report the body right away, he would look suspicious. So those letters lived on to serve another function, when Mr. Tenay used them in another incident. Oh, the assault on Mr. Justice! Exactly. Mr. Tenay hit upon a plan to use the bloody writing for his own purposes. So he didn't clean it away. Instead, he made it look like Mr. Justice wrote it. By adding 2 lines to the writing that Detective Arm left behind, he changed the meaning of the message. He made it look like Mr. Justice was accusing Miss Woods of the attack.
So that means
the only person who could have altered the bloody writing was the courtroom bomber, who was the same person that assaulted Mr. Justice. And that person is Ted Tenate.
yeah!
Order in the court! Order, I say! It looks like we will have to hear from the bomb specialist himself. Mr. Payne, please have Mr. Tenate take the witness stand.
Yes, Your Honor. That was great, Mr. Wright.
Just doing what I do best, which is flying by the seat of my pants.
Dismantling the case is yours. Do you think you can handle it? I look forward to seeing you try.
I finally drawn Mr. Tenate back onto the witness stand. Looks like you'll get your wish, Goggle Man. Now watch me take your lies apart. Mr. Tenate, I'm afraid we have a few more questions for you.
I understand the situation, Your Honor. I was keeping a close eye on the proceedings from the gallery. The allegations are all laughable.
Objection!
I wouldn't be laughing if I were you, Mr. Tenate. The message in blood matches your ID number. The same ID number that is there on that bomb transport case.
Such a far-fetched theory. None better than a tangled ball of wires.
I'll have them untangled for you in no time at all. You were the first person on the scene after Detective Arm left her message in blood. You were the only one who could have hidden the writing and then used it again later.
I see, ×2. But then let me ask you, do you have any proof that Detective Arm wrote that message?
That's a very good question. Well, do you, Mr. Wright? The best way to prove that Detective Arm wrote that message is to analyze the DNA. Your Honor, I request that a DNA test be performed on the blood itself. Once we know whose it is, it will be obvious as to who wrote the message. Very well. Bailiff, please put in a request for a DNA test with the forensics team. Yes, Your Honor. It will be some time before we have the results of the analysis. Until then, let's hear more from the witness.
I would like nothing more, Your Honor. I want the court to hear how ridiculous the defense's theory is.
After the explosion.
I admit I was the first one on the scene after the explosion, but there was no bloody writing there at the time. Anyway, there is no way Detective Arm could have written it. She struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. She was too far away from where the bloody message was found.
So you're saying that the victim's body was nowhere near where the writing was?
Precisely. It is as plain as day that she could not have written it.
It's true.
It's true.
Sorry.
It's true that the body...
What the fuck?
It's true that the body was discovered near the entrance to the courtroom. Please have a look at this crime scene photo. As you can see, there is blood on the rubble near the victim's body. She must have died after hitting her head there.
Courtroom bombing photo added to the court record. I see. Alright then, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness.
Do you have what it takes to take my infallible testimony apart?
After the explosion.
I admit I was the first one on the scene after the explosion.
Hold it!
Why were you the first person on the scene?
To secure the area. It is regulation for a bomb disposal specialist to enter first.
In other words, you had the opportunity to alter the bloody writing then, didn't you?
Well,
Objection!
Mr. Wright, please don't interrupt. Mr. Tennant is about to give testimony that will show just how wrong your reasoning is.
Darn. I think he was just about to say something interesting, too.
When I went in and saw the aftermath, well, it was quite the disaster. But there was no bloody writing there at the time.
Hold it!
You were able to tell this even with those goggles on?
With these goggles, there is no way I could have missed something like that. I can see quite well with them. In fact, I can see every hair on your spiky head. Oh, you have a few grays, Mr. Wright.
What?
Poor Mr. Wright. You're always working so hard keeping our office together.
Wait a minute, I don't have any gray hairs.
Just kidding.
Objection!
I object to the witness's attempt to prematurely give me gray hair. Mr. Tennant, this court frowns upon untoward comments on a person's hair or lack thereof.
I'm sensing a grave wave of sorrow coming from the judge. My apologies, Your Honor. May I please continue my testimony? Anyway, there is no way Detective Arm could have written it.
Hold it!
If she didn't write it, then who do you propose did?
Mr. Justice, of course. Just before dying, he wrote the name of his attacker, Juniper Woods. A final message from your poor subordinate.
Poor Mr. Justice. I'm starting to get all musty-eyed. Apollo is not dead, folks.
So how can you be so sure it wasn't Detective Arm who wrote the message? It is very simple. She had struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance.
Hold it!
Do you imagine she was thrown back by the force of the blast?
A bomb can inflict damage not only from the explosion itself, but also substantial secondary damage from the blast wind. Detective Arm unfortunately hit her head on some rubble. It's stated in the autopsy report as well. Cause of death, trauma to back of head.
Ah, the autopsy report. I better take another look at that.
Now do you see? Detective Arm could not have written that message. The reason for that being, she was too far away from the bloody message where the bloody message was found.
Hold it!
Isn't it possible she could have crawled to the area of the bloody message?
If that were true, then how did she return to the spot near the entrance?
Maybe she crawled back after writing it? Hey, did this guy just hoof me?
Would you like to get down on the floor and give us a demonstration of your theory?
Huh? No, thank you.
The victim's body and the writing are several yards away from each other. There's no way she could reach. Quite the conundrum.
That means something is off somewhere. There must be a contradiction.
Ah, maybe the body was moved. That doesn't explain how blood got onto the rubble.
What if that was done by the real corporate after the fact? If that's the case, then something about that might contradict the evidence we have. Wait, what? I accidentally... Cause of death, trauma to back of head caused by impact with flat object. What if her fingers are clean? I mean her index fingers.
Objection!
You are a terrible liar, Mr. Tennant. Take a look at this autopsy, specifically the part about Detective Arm's head injury. Cause of death, trauma to back of head caused by impact with a flat object.
Yes, what about it? Now take a good look at the bloody piece. Now take a good look at the bloody piece of rubble. It's sharp and pointed. Yeah. Hey, you're right, boss. It is pointy. It's like your hair.
That is odd, isn't it? What could be the meaning of this contradiction?
I believe it means the victim did not hit her head on this piece of rubble. The blood stain you see is just another fabrication. Its purpose is to mislead us into thinking the victim died near the courtroom entrance. Are you claiming the culprit moved the victim's body?
That's exactly what I'm claiming. The victim hit her head at some other location, most likely on the floor or some other flat surface. And this location was somewhere near where the bloody writing was found.
In that case, it definitely could have been written the message. In that case, she definitely could have written the message.
Your Honor, I have the results of the bloodstain analysis. Very good timing. Let's take a look. According to this report, the message was written in Detective Arm's blood. And as the defense claims, only the parts of the message that were added afterwards were written in Mr. Justice's blood. It would appear that the defense's assertion is correct after all.
Bloody writing analysis added to the court record. Yes! You did it! You were right, boss.
Now I have to drive it home. I'll have to take a good look at the bloody writing analysis later. Or right now.
DNA analysis definitively proves the blood of the writing to be that of the victim, Candace Arm, age 27. However, the lines that were added later were found to be written in the blood of Apollo Justice, age 23.
Mr. Tenate, it is now apparent that you have told several lies to this court. I hope you have some sort of explanation for yourself.
Fine, I will confess.
You will? But then why are you so calm?
This time I will tell the truth.
The truth.
It is true that Detective Arm wrote my ID number. He very plainly wrote L10015R. I was shocked, but I did not detonate the bomb. Detective Arm must have mistaken me for the real bomber. Not wanting to be accused, I moved the body and covered the writing. My bad.
I see. So it is your assertion that you merely moved the body, is that it?
That is correct. I did not kill Detective Arm.
Oh, well, if that's all you did, then... Wait a minute! That in and of itself is a criminal act! Glad to see you finally crossed that finish line, Your Honor. Very well, then. Your cross-examination, please, Mr. Wright.
The truth. It is true that Detective Arm wrote my ID number.
Hold it!
So you admit that you actually did see the bloody writing that Detective Arm left.
My bad. I should have said so from the outset.
And you were sure it was your ID number?
I am sure. It was definitely my ID number. That number was assigned exclusively to me by the police department. That number is assigned to my goggles as well.
So those funky things were provided by the police department?
Although these are special goggles customized by me personally. Speaking of personalized, these sunglasses of mine were custom made as well. They were specially created to be particularly dark and shiny.
Speaking of special, my gavel is made of mahogany and was custom made as well. It was specially created to make a particularly loud and resounding sound. Wish I had something to brag about. But be all that as it may, I just want to confirm you saw the bloody writing clearly? And that it was your ID number?
That is correct. My ID number was written in blood on the floor. She very plainly wrote L10015R. I was shocked.
Hold it!
And it was written after the bomb went off in the courtroom?
Correct. I didn't know why she would write it, so that sent me into a panic.
Sounds like you were in quite a tizzy.
If I were in his shoes, I guess it would have psyched me out too. Can't imagine coming across the message "Psychs" written in blood. If I saw "gasp in pain" written in blood, it'd certainly make me gasp. Rest assured, Mr. Tenate, I understand how you must have felt.
And so you discovered your ID number written in blood at the scene, and...
That is right. I saw it with my own eyes. It very clearly said L10015R. but I did not detonate the bomb.
Didn't you? The victim may have had special knowledge of who the bomber was.
I have no idea what thoughts Detective Arm may have had inside her head. It is not like I ever dismantled her mind to check.
Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright, if you have suspicions about the witness, let's see your proof. Evidence is everything in a court of law. Even school children know that. How many years have you been a defense attorney now?
Cut me some slack, will you?
Don't feel bad, boss. You just got your attorney's badge back, after all. In that sense, you're still more of a beginner than I am.
I suppose I should be thankful you're not a licensed psychologist. Mr. Tenate, please continue with your testimony.
With pleasure. My ID number was left at the scene, but... Detective Arm must have mistaken me for the real bomber.
Hold it!
If I'm mistaken, do you mean you had nothing to do with the explosion?
That is correct. That is why I was so shocked when I saw my ID number. The victim may have suspected Mr. Tenate for no reason other than the fact that, as the bomb specialist, he was in charge of the bomb. In other words, a false accusation. It's vocational discrimination, I say.
I do not support discrimination of any kind.
Well spoken, Your Honor. If the victim had been found to be killed with a gavel, Mr. Bluesuit over there would probably have pinned the crime on you.
He would? Well, that just wouldn't do. Mr. Wright, if you dare try to pin anything on me, I will find you in contempt of court. But I've never even tried to harm a hair on, a strand of your beard, Your Honor.
Well said, Mr. Payne. Because I am so closely associated with bombs, I was afraid I would be prosecuted if anyone saw the bloody writing. Not wanting to be accused, I moved the body and covered the writing. My bad.
You didn't think to clear away the bloody writing?
I didn't have time. By the time I found the message, the blood was already dry. The police were waiting just outside for me to secure the room, and I still had to move the body. I was in a panic. With no time to spare, I temporarily covered the writing with my case.
Didn't you think the police would find it during the investigation?
Regulation stipulates only specialists may touch transport cases. Because of the danger, you see. I thought I would clean up the writing once they were finished. My bad.
My bad?
Does he really think that will just magically smooth everything over?
That is something else. And I don't believe Detective Arm's dying message was just a mistake. He won't wiggle out of this that easily. What did Mr. Tenate see when he first discovered the bloody writing? There has to be a contradiction hidden in his testimony somewhere. That's a mistaken me for the real bomber. Brain no worky. Oh, there is no R. That's true.
Objection!
I just want to make doubly sure that L10015R is really what you saw written in blood.
Yes, it is very clearly said L10015R.
But that's odd, because that's not what I see.
Objection!
What on earth are you blabbling on about now? Wasn't it you who claimed that the bloody writing was his ID number in the first place?
Take a good look at the photo in the bloody writing analysis. Now tell me, does it really say L10015R?
Oh, eep.
Something is missing, isn't it? And that something is the final R. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Tenate?
Oh, alright. Now I remember. There was no R on the end. It was just a slip of the finger. My bad.
Come back, my beautiful contradiction.
Mr. Wright, I'm not so sure it was just a simple slip of the finger.
You have something for me, Athena?
I sense that he's extremely agitated and almost panicked.
He does look pretty flustered. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears it was nothing more than a mere mistake. I don't know, did he really just make a typo? What about that R? Did Mr. Snape really see it? He thought he saw an R. He actually saw it. Maybe Mr. Snape really did see the R. But there's no R anywhere in the bloody writing. What's going on here? Huh? Now that I take a closer look at the photo, I think maybe... That's it!
What is it now, Mr. Wright? Are you trying to imitate Apollo in his cord to steal?
I've got it. So that's what happened. A slip of the finger. Is that really all it was? Because I don't think so. I propose that Mr. Snape really did see the letter R. But the photo clearly shows that there is no R.
No, Your Honor. Actually, just the opposite is true. The photo shows that Mr. Tenay actually could have seen the R.
If you're going to make that claim, then you'd better be able to point out what you mean. What part of the photo shows that Mr. Tenay could have seen the R?
Take that!
Please look here, to the right of the 5. Do you see a little bit of red? Oh, I see it! Just on the edge of where the floor is broken up. That's the R that Mr. Tenate saw.
Objection!
It's true that the witness wears some very, very odd goggles, but that doesn't mean his eyesight is bad, nor his brain power. What part of that little smudge looks like an R to you?
Objection!
But what Mr. Tenate saw wasn't that little smudge. There was a whole incomplete R written there, before the floor was damaged by the explosion. Oh, well, that explains... Huh?
Care to explain what you mean? Because you just proposed that everything happened in the exact opposite order.
Yep, because that's the way it really went down. The timing of when the R was written turns everything about this case around. Now then, if the floor was damaged by the explosion, when was the message written? Before the explosion. With a bloody message running off the edge of the damaged floor like that, we can only conclude that it was written before the explosion.
But that's ridiculous.
If that were true, it overturns your own premise. That's right, it does. In fact, it turns everything upside down. The victim was not killed by the explosion in the courtroom. She was killed before the explosion ever occurred.
I fucking knew it!
I knew that they were gonna do this. That she was killed before the explosion. Hell yeah!
I knew it. I knew it.
Order! Order in the court.
What kind of preposterous claim is that? Have you forgotten that the victim's body was found at the scene of the explosion?
Objection!
True, but consider this scenario. She was hit on the head and killed before the explosion, or even before the trial began. Her body was subsequently placed in the courtroom ruins after the bombing occurred. That way, it could be made to look like she was a victim of the blast.
What?
It sounds like we had better look into what the victim was doing before the trial. Mr. Payne, did anyone see Detective Arm before the trial?
Let's see. According to the police report... Ah, here it is. One person. One person saw the victim before the trial. And that person was Tenate. Wait, what?
No one besides Mr. Tenate saw the victim?
That appears to be the case, Your Honor.
I would now ask the court to recall something. Specifically, Mr. Tenate's words from yesterday.
It was when Detective Arm and I were transporting the bomb.
Oh my! Mr. Tenate, just before the trial, you were with the victim. The two of you were together at the scene of the crime. Courtroom number 4. Your Honor, the defense requests new testimony from Mr. Tenate. We wish to hear what he has to say about his whereabouts just before the trial. Mr. Tenate, your testimony, please.
My testimony? There is no need for...
He's completely unnerved, Mr. Wright. You must have hit the nail on the head.
Because all I did was transport the bomb to the courtroom. I already told you.
Blast this thing. I was only in the courtroom with the victim because of our work. I swear I was only transporting the bomb there.
Objection!
You and the victim were alone together at the scene of the crime. In other words, you certainly had the opportunity to commit murder, did you not?
Objection!
Tisk. Do you always leave yourself so open to attacks, Mr. Wright?
What now, Mr. Payne?
Yes, Mr. Tenay may have had the opportunity to kill Detective Arm, but an important piece of your assertion is missing.
What important piece?
The murder weapon! What do you claim was used to kill the victim?
Mr. Payne has a point. Even if Mr. Tenay had the chance, without a weapon, we can't accuse him of the crime.
Well, Mr. Tenate?
Yes, that's right. I didn't have any sort of thing that could be used as a murder weapon on me. I couldn't possibly have killed Detective Arm. Did he really have nothing he could use as a murder weapon? What is it, Athena?
Just looking over the victim's autopsy report. I'm hoping there's something in here that can point us in the right direction.
Well, it does say that she died from trauma to the back of the head with a flat object.
Yeah, and to inflict that specific kind of injury, all you would need is a flat surface, right?
A heavy, blunt object with a flat surface could definitely be our murder weapon. Well, Mr. Wright, can you indicate for the court what was used to kill Detective Arm?
I believe I can. Believe being the key word here.
You can? Then please do so now. What did Mr. Tenay have that could have been used as a murder weapon?
Take that!
This must have been the murder weapon.
Huh? Don't be ridiculous.
You fell right into my trap. So you confirm that this piece of evidence was not the murder weapon. That narrows my candidates down by 1.
I hope you don't intend to answer my process of elimination, Mr. Wright.
Because if you do, prepare to see me do more of this to you.
The victim was killed with a blow to the head, so the question is, which evidence is connected to Mr. Tenay and can serve as a blunt instrument?
I'll ask you again, Mr. Wright. Fuck.
What did he use?
The bomb? No.
He didn't use the bomb.
It's the only other flat surface I've got here.
Take that!
Mr. Tenay, you say you didn't have anything that could be used as a weapon, but in fact, you had the perfect thing.
What? What the devil are you talking about?
You had this. That's the bomb. I thought you were trying to prove that the victim wasn't killed by the bomb blast. The bomb blast, no, but I believe Candace's arm was killed with this bomb. Because this is the blunt object that delivered the fatal blow to her head. Ah! Please recall the description of Detective Arm's head wound. Trauma to back of head caused by impact with a flat object. We assumed this injury was sustained when her head hit the floor. But a blow from any flat side of this bomb would produce the exact same wound pattern. Ugh! Gah! Ugh! And now he's laughing.
Hee hee hee.
What's with him? Then show me proof. Where's the evidence that I hit the victim with the bomb? He's right. I don't have anything decisive. Did you find any of the victim's blood on the bomb? That would be decisive proof. But too bad, the bomb is blown to bits. It's long gone. Boom! Game over! Yeah! Ugh.
Mr. Wright, is there really nothing on the bomb in the photo?
It's cracked. I don't see any blood or anything.
Wait, the timer display is a little broken here.
Maybe it broke when it made contact with Detective Arm's head. That's definitely a distinct possibility, but unless we find a fragment with the victim's blood on it, it's not going to count.
Ugh, I guess you're right.
By setting off the bomb, Tenate managed to obliterate all traces of the murder weapon. What in the world do I do now? At times like this, I've got to change gears and look at things in a different way. Instead of looking for the things he wasn't able to hide, I should be looking for a way to expose the things he did hide. Head Tenate murdered Detective Arm before the trial had started. Then he placed her body in the courtroom after the bomb went off, which means there was something he needed to keep hidden until then. And I think I have just the thing. Time to present the photo that shows exactly what Mr. Tenate had to hide.
Take that!
Oh, whoops.
Your Honor, there's something we've all been overlooking. If the murder took place before the trial, then Mr. Tanay would have had to hide the body somewhere during the trial. Hey, you're right! And if we can figure out where the hiding place was... Exactly. We might be able to find some evidence we can pin him down with. So where could Mr. Tanay have hidden the body during the trial?
Take that!
Wait. A box big enough for a body. A box that was in the courtroom the whole time. A box nobody would touch if they thought there was a bomb in it. Mr. Tanate. What is it? Do you finally have some decisive evidence to show me? No, you're the one who's going to show it to me. Come again? You heard me. Now, show me what's inside that bomb transport case. What? Why? No, there's no need. I've got him now. Just before the trial, you killed the victim with a blunt object. And then you placed her body in the ruins of the courtroom after the bomb went off. Clearly, you were trying to make it look like she died in the explosion. But where was the body hidden during the trial? Oh, I hadn't thought of that. The answer is right here. Inside a box made of thick alloy plating that can withstand any damage. No, that's completely false. If it's false, you should have no objections to showing us your transport case. So, let's open it up and take a look inside, shall we? Let's not. Not if you value your life.
What's he up to now?
Remain calm and listen carefully. This bomb will detonate in 5 minutes.
What? Huh?
I repeat, this HH-3000 will detonate in 5 minutes.
What's going on?
Your Honor, I recommend you adjourn this trial before this bomb goes off.
Mr. Tanate, are you threatening me?
Heh heh heh. I am the only one who can disable this bomb. If you do not want to die, your only option is to listen to me.
Mr. Tanate. Whoops.
Mr. Tanate, didn't you say that's just a training model? A fake to practice on? I did, but I also lied. This is the real deal. This is the HH-3000.
But the HH-3000 was used to blow up courtroom number 4, wasn't it?
How did you know it was the real HH-3000 that blew up courtroom number 4?
Huh?
The bomb that blew up the courtroom was a different one that I made.
What? Then are we to take that as a confession on your part?
Take it any way you would like. Just before the trial, I took the HH-3000 out of the stuffed animal and put my own bomb into it. That was the bomb that exploded and destroyed courtroom number 4. Mr. Tanate, please be reasonable. Do you really expect us to believe a crazy story like that? The HH-3000, it is so unique. I had never seen anything like it. It is so unique that I could not replicate the detonation mechanism. So I just had to have it. Besides, did anyone look inside the stuffed animal during the trial? Did anyone check to see if it really was the HH-3000 in there?
I must confess, no one opened the stuffed animal to check.
So, there really is a possibility that the bomb was switched out? No, not a possibility, a certainty. I did it.
So he's had a real bomb with him this whole time?
You had better get out of here while you can. You do not have much time.
Order! Order in the court! I'm out of here! It's gonna blow! Run!
You four are still here? Well, aren't you brave?
It just wouldn't do for the judge presiding over this court to run. But that horrible explosion the other day. The judge looks like he's about to book you for the nearest exit any second. As for Mr. Payne...
that is...
And he's off.
Mr. Wright, what do we do?
Ugh, it'd be pretty pathetic to run now, wouldn't it? But the bomb might really go off.
Only 3 more minutes, folks.
Is that bomb really the HH-3000? What should I do? Stand my ground, of course. I can't run now.
Well, it's been fun, but I will be going now. With my dear HH-3000, naturally. Oh, and by the way, I would advise against having me followed. Even with no remote switch, the bomb can still be triggered manually. If I think I'm being followed, I will detonate it on the spot. Farewell.
Hold it!
You're not going anywhere, Tetanate.
Oh,
Your Honor, there's no reason to be afraid. That bomb is a fake. Are you sure, Mr. Wright?
more of your famous bluffing, even at the risk of your own life?
Mr. Wright, none of your bluffing now, not at a time like this. Lives on the line here.
I'm not bluffing, and I have proof. You do?
Yes, of course, Your Honor.
It's right here in the photo of the bomb, clear as day. Proof that Mr. Tenate's bomb is not the real HH-3000.
Really? Out with it then, immediately.
Where's the proof that what Mr. Tenate is holding is not the real HH-3000?
Take that!
The display for the timer on the bomb in the photo is broken. Most likely, it broke when Mr. Tenate used the bomb to attack a detective arm. But the display on the bomb in front of us is not broken.
Oh, you're right.
Therefore, this is not the real HH-3000. Mr. Tenate was clearly lying when he said he had switched out the bomb in the stuffed animal. The real HH-3000 blew up in courtroom number 4. This bomb is nothing more than a fake, a model used for training purposes. Blah! Fear not, Your Honor. I will examine the inside of the bomb transport case myself.
Yes, please do that, Mr. Wright.
No! Stop!
What is that? Is that a bloodstain?
Just as expected. Your lies have all been blown to bits, Mr. Tenate. I'm confident DNA analysis on this bloodstain will confirm that it's Detective Arm's blood, and that those results will conclusively prove that you murdered Detective Arm. How about it, Mr. Tenate? Think you can dismantle this decisive evidence? Dismantle it? Ha ha ha! You're too late! You missed your chance to run, so now you're out of time. This is HH-3000 is about to explode! Don't try to threaten us, Mr. Tenate. I've already proved that your bomb is a fake. It's real! This bomb is the real thing, I tell you. It's real! Ha ha ha! Hee hee hee! Ha ha ha! Ha ha!
Mad bomber party of one.
There's no time left. It's going to blow. I have to disarm it. I have to take it apart. I can dismantle anything. I can take apart evidence. I can take apart bombs. I can dismantle it all. Dismantle, dismantle, dismantle. I'm not gonna make it. Only one thing left to do. Stop. Damn, he got a strong ass chin. Made it. He's got bombs for eyes. Game over. Dismantling failed. Ha ha ha! It's all over. My life has been blown to bits. It's all that stupid woman's fault. I was selling the bombs I disarmed on the black market. When I tried to take this one, she just had to notice, didn't she? She confronted me in courtroom number 4 that day. That's why I had no choice. Before I knew what I was doing, I hit her. It's all her fault. While I was looking for a place to hide her body, she left a message in her own blood. The trial was about to start, so I didn't have time to clean up. And now all this? I thought for sure I could disguise her death with an explosion. Then that stupid defense attorney started sticking his nose into my business. After my testimony yesterday, I went to courtroom number 4 and I found that kid all up in my bomb transport case. That's when I snuck up behind him and BAM! And when the idiot police arrested that little girl, I thought for sure I could pin it all on her. She's not a little girl, she's 18 years old. She's an adult now. Why, oh why?
Ted Tenate, you are hereby under arrest on suspicion of the courtroom bombing and the assault on Mr. Justice. Your innocence or guilt will be determined at a later trial. Now then, I see that members of the public have returned to the gallery. One person, however, seems to still be running far, far away. Be that as it may, I will now announce Miss Juniper Woods' verdict.
Not guilty. Woo!
And Gasp and Pain is just not there. It's so funny. Court is adjourned.
You did it, boss!
Yeah, I guess we managed to pull it off somehow.
So many mysteries cleared up all at once. It was amazing.
It just sort of worked out that way, didn't it?
That's not the kind of thing that usually just works out. You made it happen. And the way that mean old prosecutor hightailed it out of there, that was great. Mr. Wright, Nina, thank you for everything you did for me. I'm so happy for you, Ginny, that you can go back home to the forest in peace. I hope the both of you will come and visit me there sometime.
That would be nice. Thank you for the invitation.
I don't know, Mr. Wright. I'm not so sure you can make it all the way up to Junie's house. How high up do you live again, Junie? Around 3,000 feet, I think.
What? That's no forest, that's a mountain.
But you know, boss, there's something that still bothers me about the case. One little mystery we never got around to solving.
Oh, that? Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Is this the unsolved mystery you're thinking of?
Take that!
The remote switch, right?
Yeah, I wonder where it disappeared to. Maybe Mr. Tanae just got rid of it somewhere.
Yeah, it is a pretty big thing to leave unsolved, though. Well, let's leave it up to the police to find. For now, we should be celebrating our not guilty verdict.
I guess you're right. Hey, I know. Junie, shall we go report the good news? You know, to that certain someone. Okay.
Huh? Her grandmother?
No, silly, to Apollo.
Oh, right. Well, why don't we all go to the hospital together to see him?
Great idea. I bet he's bored out of his mind. Okay.
And so the courtroom bombing case came to a close, but the next trial was just over the horizon. There's never a dull moment with so many lawyers in the office, that's for sure. Apollo Justice, Athena Sykes, and me, Phoenix Wright. Between the three of us, there's no case we can't solve. When our powers combine, we're an unstoppable team. At least that's what I believed. Ominous. What do you mean by that? But all of that changed with what Apollo said to us that day. It was something that would put my faith in us to the ultimate test. What? What'd he say? Is he quitting?
Sorry, but I'll be taking a leave of absence.
Wait, what do you mean by a leave?
Can you at least give me a reason why?
I can only say that this is something I must settle on my own.
Big brother, is what she should have said.
Oh, why, Apollo? Why are you shutting us out?
What happened to you, Apollo? Ever since you put that jacket on, you've changed. And now, for whatever reason, it's returning to the day I first met you. We had tackled our first case together, he and I, this past spring. And as we did, I came to know who he is and how he thinks. It was a very peculiar case, one in which the victim was killed by a mythical creature.
Like a statue of a mythical creature? Sculpture?
End. And that's the end of the stream. Dual Destinies is gonna be really fun, huh? It's even got all of these animated cutscenes. Okay. Now let me. Okay, so we have enough to do a little raid. How about okay, let me refresh. Okay, Good Games Done Casual is currently watching public domain videos. So why don't we raid him? I swear I'm not making the expression on my model's face. Looks so upset. Okay, everyone ready to raid? I'll be back tomorrow. No, wait. Today's Sunday. So I'll be back on Friday to play Alan Wake 2. Hopefully I'll be able to get through the part that I got stuck on.